spent nights on the couch playing GoldenEye and Smash and everything. Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey, which is like my favorite game ever. Like those games, like talking shit, punching each other, like having a party, not like playing online. And I know it's kind of different now, right? Like I don't like playing online being screamed at by racist 15-year-olds.
Sure,
I want to
no
sit in my living room with my friends and play a game and have a good time and have a party.
Racist stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
of course.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Emergent Gamer Podcast. It's episode 159. This is your host, Trip Zero. We've got a real special episode for you guys tonight. We're going to do some intros, and then we're going to get right into it. So let me ask, who's on my left right here?
You got Neo Yoshi?
Neo?
Neo_Yoshi on Twitter.
Oh, I forgot we're doing that.
Are we? Are we still doing it?
Yeah.
It worked well.
Did it?
Yeah.
And Neo Yoshi on Twitter.
Nice.
Nope, and Twitch. I meant Twitch. Too many T's. Go ahead. As you were.
How are you, dude?
I'm great, man.
That's awesome.
It's been great.
I just forgot that we were doing the little handle intro. I like it.
Yeah.
It works so much
keep
better.
It quick.
I mean, how did it sound on last week's episode? Was it good?
Did we listen?
Yeah, it was fine.
I
I
edited
did.
it. Yeah,
Did
I
it
listened.
sound good? I'm
wanna-
asking because I didn't listen to our episode.
I just want to do it that way. I think it makes more sense.
I think so, too.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, people who don't get to the end of the episode will never know where to find
That's
us.
true.
on
That's
Twitch.
why no one listens.
Which sometimes I'm really surprised anyone makes
I know.
it to the end of the episode.
It's really funny.
So
I'm Trip Zero TV on all of my socials.
There you go.
Including Twitch.
there you go.
Who's over here?
This is Felix Hergood, twitch.tv/Felix Hergood, and mixer.com/Felix Hergood.
Both,
Yeah,
baby.
I do a double stream. I can't say multi-stream because that means something else.
No, you're saying the right thing.
It's a double stream.
People get
it's
it.
a binary stream.
Yeah, but you could just say multi-stream.
stupid.
You don't have to be that guy.
But yeah, I'm here.
You're here. How you feeling?
I'm good.
Okay.
He's
I
relaxing.
sp- I spent-
you could tell.
He's coming down.
I
He's
spent
coming
an
down.
entire day, all the way up until you came over to pick me up,
Yeah.
playing Assassin's Creed Origins.
Guys
No hut.
out there listening, we're on location for this
Yeah.
episode, so Felix had to set everything up in a new space.
did a great job.
He did a great job. Fantastic job. He's a little bit,
Yeah, he'll be good. He'll
when I
mellow
go
out
when
by
I go
the
to
30-minute mark.
When I go to a space that I'm not comfortable with, I get a little anxious. It's just natural.
So you're not comfortable in
you're
my
among,
home.
you're among friends.
I think your home is wonderful.
Thank
you. It's a beautiful
You're sitting
home.
here in
It's
some
so
very
beautiful.
closed language. You're crossing your chest.
Oh no!
here.
I was just.
Now
Don't
he doesn't
put
know
the
what to do with his
spotlight
hands.
on
I don't know why I was
know.
crossing my arms.
It's okay.
man.
It's
Anyway,
okay.
this is Lock and Key here. You could find me on Twitter at lock_key, and you can find me on Mixer at mixer.com/lockandkey. Yeah, we're not in the normal studio. We're at my home for this episode. So, Felix, thank you for lugging out the chest.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
full
Not
of
a problem.
treasures.
And we've got our very special guest,
Yeah.
Nick from PHL Collective. Nick,
That
why don't
is
you
correct.
introduce yourself a little bit? How are you?
Nick from PHL Collective, at PHL Collective on Twitter. If we're doing the plugs up front.
Plug
Do
it up,
it,
man.
do
Plug
it.
it. Yes, get people on your stuff right
There you
away.
go. Yeah, company stuff is PHL Collective all over across the board. I personally don't have any of that. So there you go.
Probably better.
That's
easier
just me.
to handle. Yeah. So welcome, man. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So a little bit about Nick. Nick is a game developer, right? And we're going to talk a little bit more about what he does. We're going to spotlight a game that's going to be coming out on the Switch real soon. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. But Nick, if you could do us a favor and just share a little bit about your background and how you came to develop maybe PHL Collective and everything in between as best you can, maybe.
Should we disclose our relationship? Is that like the professional?
I
Like,
mean,
Is
sure.
that the journalism?
Yeah. So, I mean, Nick is my brother-in-law.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Nothing we say is legit anymore.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, so he is family. But
You didn't sound enthused about that.
yeah, I guess I could like.
You kind of trailed off there.
I
He's
could-
family.
Yeah.
So is this
Family.
is this chronism or nepotism? What would it be? Nepotism is when you give like an immediate family member like a break,
like a
or
break.
deal.
I mean,
Maybe it's chronism.
I don't even know what that word is.
Chronism
this
is
word.
We
when
got the
when
computer
you
now.
I got you. I'm on it.
chronism is when you give like favoritism to somebody who like like
Without
Trump,
regard to their qualifications.
right? Without regard to their.
I don't think
qualifications.
anyone that's listening to this podcast cares.
You got one guy or girl
to be
out there.
perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Okay. Yeah. But of course, yeah, I've known Nick for a long time. I guess the better part of a decade at this point, which is just wild to think about that it's been that long. But yeah, I'm super excited that he's finally on the podcast. But I think for everything that's happening in the news, a little bit about what we talked about last week with that Verge article coming out, I think it's great that we have a game developer local to Philadelphia on the show. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and I know you weren't always at PHL Collective, right?
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you about myself, and then hopefully I don't tell all the stories, and then in another 10 years I can come on again. Is that good?
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
I won't tell you everything on this
yeah,
episode.
As long as Felix makes it another 10 years,
Yeah.
the stress levels might not.
He's got to get into yoga.
Thank you.
Meditation.
I'm already pushing 40, and I'm thinking more about my mortality. And you had to go there, didn't you? Thanks a lot.
I got an old Wii Fit board if you want to get in there.
Oh, the Wii Fit board. Yes. We'll get you in there, man.
just
You got to
kidding,
keep
Felix.
the dot on the center and do your little yoga.
I just want you to take care of yourself. That's all.
I subscribe to the concept that repeating information, like it's a podcast. Podcasts happen. We do a weekly podcast, so we do this all the time. I think returning to a game or a guest, 2 or 3 weeks in a row wouldn't be a good thing.
Sure.
But returning to a guest in like 6 months, like that's not unheard of.
No,
We do so many episodes. It
Yeah,
doesn't
we do.
matter. We can do this as many times as you want, Nick.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
as long as
I'll
you,
just-
as
I
long
hope
as
you
you
like
don't-
it.
as long as you don't care.
Anytime you want to promote a new game, man, just
Wedge
Yeah.
myself
Just
in.
let us know.
So,
Yeah.
so I guess a little bit more targeted. Like, how long have you been in the gaming industry umbrella, like as a whole, at this point?
I think it's been a little bit over 15 years at this point I've been working in games.
Okay.
So I guess the abridged version of my story is went to school at Philly U
Right.
for industrial
I'm
design.
a Philly U alum.
Hated it. Left. Sorry, Josh.
I didn't
I
like
know
it that
you-
much either.
Really?
They just got acquired by Thomas Jefferson University.
They did, which is a huge.
So weird.
Yeah, it's a big win for them.
I had a
It's a
friend that
huge
loved
win.
it there. It's
No,
you
I
guys
loved.
both-
I loved the school, the
Yeah.
program. I just kind
Oh,
of,
I
kind
gotcha.
of dealt
I gotcha.
with, and I'm not doing anything with my degree, but neither is 90% of the population. So,
Yeah, no, I went
Anyway.
to
Go on.
biology and film, so
Philly U, right?
Yeah, so Philly U, studied industrial design, hated it, left, enrolled in Full Sail University, like in the very early days of it. I guess that's another school I really can't say like great things about, but like they did their job. I got to where I am.
kind of a gamble at that point.
So it was
Wouldn't it have
between Full Sail and DigiPen, which was the school that Nintendo was hooked up with for a while,
Oh, wow.
and then the Portal kids came out of a while back.
Oh, wow.
really?
Yeah,
been?
yeah.
I didn't know. I had no idea.
Yeah, Portal was a student design
Narptacular
experiment.
Drop, I think
Yeah.
was the game's name. Yeah,
And then they attached it to Orange Box when that came out.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Portal because I just played Portal 1 for the first time.
that's
Like,
pathetic.
I know it's real bad. I know. Well, here's the thing.
Takes a lie, am I right, yo?
Here's the thing. All right.
Dig in, Nick. Dig in.
That's fine. You can. You absolutely can. So I never played it on Orange Box because I didn't buy Orange Box, and I didn't have a PC to play it.
good-
But it's just
good
funny
reasons.
that like Portal has come up natural in conversation like 10 times since I've played Portal for the first time, like a decade later.
I mean, should. It's
I'm
like,
stoked
Oh, it's
for
fantastic.
the
And-
fresh,
and I've
the
never
fresh
played 2.
perspective.
So I'm going to play 2 soon as well, which is awesome. So sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
No, so went to Full Sail, graduated with a degree in 3D art. I was doing environment art and 3D models, stuff like that. When I left school, I took a graphic design job, so I was doing some graphic design work, not using my degree at first, because it was tough being an East Coast guy when most of the game stuff was West Coast.
Yeah.
There was so many grads coming out West Coast that a lot of studios weren't willing to take a risk on a kid from the East Coast and spend the extra money to move them over, like across
Oh, wow.
the country.
Right.
They could just get grads coming out of USC or wherever else, which is just cheaper to move them to Santa Monica, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You're within the state. So I started applying for a lot of jobs. I got some hits, took a lot of art tests with some different studios, but none of them really panned out. So I was like, you know what? Screw this. Can I curse? I don't know.
Yeah,
Sure.
you
Yeah,
can.
you can
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah,
Fuck
fuck
yeah,
Whatever
you
the
can.
fuck you want.
Yeah, you should
There you
fucking
go.
do that.
Yeah. So I said, fuck this. I'm going to apply, and I'm just going to see what happens. And if nothing happens in the next couple of weeks, I'm packing my stuff up and I'm moving out to LA. And I'm going to say this is my address now. So when I start applying for things, like they're going to think I live within the state. So I started applying at a bunch of different companies, and Square Enix were the first people to get back to me, and it was for an entry level job. It was in the first couple, like maybe 2 years that they opened up the LA studio, which later became Kojima LA, which later turned back to Square LA. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. That's Konami. What am I thinking? They were right down the street from each other.
Okay. So it was Kojima's Konami studio when they opened that.
That was actually down. I'm sorry, I totally mixed up Square and
Cool.
Konami.
Yeah. So you were working for Square or Konami?
I was working for Square.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I was in Square's LA studio, which was down the street from Konami's LA studio. So I was working for Square, and the first game I worked on was in a QA capacity. So I was working on Final Fantasy 12. That was my very first game that I shipped.
Wow.
In
So
the
that was
industry.
like 2003 or 4.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something
like
like
four.
that. I'm
Yeah.
trying to,
That was a while ago.
Because that came
Timeline.
out near the end of the PS2 cycle.
It did.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was like one of the last games that came out. Like at that last like big game that came out, I think.
Damn, I
Yeah,
love that
because
game.
then 13 came out on PS3.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I
we
was
really talk about 13 all the time.
That's whatever.
I tried to finish it, dude. I tried to go back just to get like the platinum.
Like you're just
couldn't-
running
I
down,
couldn't do
like
it.
you're just running down different hallways. for,
Hallways,
like-
hallways, everything all at once, back to the hallway
Yeah.
for like the end.
Let's not talk about that.
Anyway, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's very easy to get trailed off.
Well, yeah. I mean, like that was the first Final Fantasy game I ever played.
Oh,
12. So like I
it's
was.
the only one like I haven't played.
It's a great game.
I
Like from
need
what
to.
I've
they just remastered it, so like I need to.
So all my friends were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, all right, your first Final Fantasy game, like you're going to need to like learn and like get into it. It's going to be tough," and it was. And then they're like, "This is actually a really good one." And then any of the other Final Fantasy games you play are going to be completely different.
Yeah.
like I know,
For
I guess
sure.
the newest one, like 15, is like it has some
15 has-
similarities.
it's more
but
action.
not-
You can
yeah,
control
exactly.
like the
Yeah.
players on the field the way you
Yeah.
can in
Well,
12 too.
the thing with 12 that, as you know from working on it, is like seeing the monsters on the map
Yeah.
and encountering them that
Was
way
a new
was
thing.
a new thing
Yeah.
because in 10 and every other one before
Yeah, it was
that,
all right, like
11, it took it from 11. Like the MMO had the monsters on the map that you would go and engage on purpose versus the random encounters.
they were all
that you
just
would get.
party-based, turn-based, active time battles. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was active time battle. That's what it was.
Yeah, so it would take you out of the world map, bring you into a battlefield.
Yeah, and you
where
have the
would
little
just-
arcs coming at you,
Yeah,
off of you
and
to
then
the
you-
monsters.
You
Yeah,
select your attacks from a menu, and like
yeah.
12 similarly did that, but like, eh.
But no, I mean, it was great. I learned like the language of Final Fantasy, which was like insane because I was like, this isn't English, but it is. Like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
weird. So yeah, I worked with Square Enix, shipped Final Fantasy 12, and then immediately jumped ship to another opportunity that presented itself at Vivendi. So that was Vivendi and Sierra pre-Activision acquisition.
Now, as you guys know, currently in the news, Vivendi just failed at their hostile takeover of Ubisoft.
Talked about that last
Yes.
week.
We did talk about that last week. Yeah,
Yeah.
they just failed. So that's actually okay. Go on.
Yeah.
This is kind of
Listen
interesting.
to our other episodes out there, guys.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that was before like they were considered like evil. I don't know. They were still they were big in the industry, especially with Sierra Online and all the Sierra games that were coming
That's a
out.
name I
So
know
like
well.
right. So the first game I worked on there was Fear. So I jumped from Final Fantasy 12 to Fear, and like that was probably one of like the greatest things I've ever worked. I love that game so much, and I love Fear 2 and Fear 3 or whatever they started putting it on.
Yeah,
Like,
they put-
Three,
yeah,
they put
yeah,
three in
yeah.
the
Yeah.
I like they're so good. I
Yeah.
love this game so much. I wish they would remaster them.
That's true. There's not many games that you think about that you're like, I wish that they would just redo it and bring it to current generation.
Yeah.
Like, but they keep throwing games at us that we're like, okay, I mean, I guess I'll play that again.
It's
You know, I
like the
guess I'll
big
do that.
sellers is what they keep redoing.
They don't go to
yeah.
like these smaller titles that weren't like super popular as far as like probably sold a lot of units.
Right, yeah.
But
Well, yeah, Warner Brothers acquired the Fear license when they acquired Monolith after the acquisition, so they own it now. So it's just
Right.
a matter of if they want to do remaster. I mean,
True.
I would buy that as many times as I've purchased Resident Evil 4. Like I will still, I would buy Fear if it came out for every single console.
Yeah.
Like moving forward. That's just because I'm a crazy person. But
I never touched it, but now it's a pretty strong
is
argument
that?
for it.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming it's on.
new.
Is it? It's not exclusive to console.
I
Is
know
it?
it was
Nah.
on console. I don't know if it was on PC.
it was on PC first.
Was it?
It was on PC first, and then there's a bunch of like Perseus Mandate and some other like
Side story stuff.
expansions. But it
Should
was
be pretty
Xbox.
easy to get on Steam then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably
Yeah.
super cheap.
Oh, it's
too.
probably dirt cheap as well.
It's 360 and it's PS3 also.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's on Steam because I was looking to go and play like the Stalker series as well on Steam, which is super cheap on. So it's like the general same time frame, I think. So you leave You leave Square. You go there.
I go to Vivendi, and
Right.
first game I work on is Fear.
Okay.
And it was the first PS3 game that Vivendi released. So we had PS3 dev kits in the office for the first time. So like,
Oh wow.
these were, like I said, Monolith as developer. These were monolithic black boxes with like switches on them, like old school like IBM like computers,
Like
from back
actual
in the day.
toggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they like core controls, like activating like a certain amount of power for the?
So no, they actually did like actions. So you could actually, they're like almost
Like
like
debug modes and
macros or
stuff,
something like
yeah.
that on a controller, right?
Okay.
It also came with a foot pedal,
Okay.
like a guitar foot pedal. You could plug this thing in and use it to take screenshots. So like if you're playing through the game, you need to like record something or like grab something real quick.
interesting.
You just press
hit
down
that
on the
with the
pedal
foot.
and it would grab a
was
screenshot real
this
quick.
before the release of the PS3 to the public?
Yeah, this is a dev kit. Like
This is
was
like
a
as they're developing
massive,
for PS3.
like,
But after the console comes out, you develop on
On
a
a-
PS3
I would
unit.
assume.
Yeah, so
Or-
essentially the way that the cycle goes is like you get these monstrous developer kits that come out first.
It has
And
a
then
similar
as-
hardware configuration to the PS3,
Right, but-
or whatever console.
But you don't see what it looks like.
Yeah,
right, okay.
exactly.
It's like seeing like the cars that are like the concept cars that are completely covered, and you don't actually get to see.
Like you can
you're-
like tinker with it,
Right.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Like,
cool.
It's pretty cool.
Like the PS2 dev kit was like a massive square that kind of looked like a PS2, but like not really.
Okay.
But like
All right.
as they continue to develop it, like
Right.
you get new versions of the debug kit or developer
Sure.
kit, and then it looks closer and closer to the actual hardware.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, and that makes sense because like going based off of my industrial design degree, like your engineers have done the work to figure out like for the most part like what's inside of it. Like they know the GPU they're going to use, they know the CPU they're probably
Right.
going to use, and they're
So you
they're
want to get
refining
working
what
on it before it
You're-
looks the way it looks.
Exactly. Your ID people go in and it's like, okay, you need to fit all of these things inside of this and make it look pretty.
Yeah.
And then you get a PS3 that's
Kind of.
a rocket ship.
Still kind of
literally
large.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that first PS3 was dope, man.
Still
I had
got
the one
it.
with all the.
I still got one.
Still got one,
I
too.
got
All the
Felix's,
times,
but
I sold mine to Locke.
yeah.
Mine's dead. I cooked it 3 times in the oven trying to reflow
Listen,
that
I'm
board.
telling you, GTA 5, that thing almost
It killed
blew up my
mine.
PlayStation.
killed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I still got mine. Do you have the 40 gig one with the?
Oh, I have the backwards compatible one.
The
before they got
emulation
rid of
engine?
the, yeah.
I bought
that was
the
worth
Metal Gear
big
Solid
bucks.
4.
I still have it.
You had
Yeah.
the Metal Gear Solid 4 one?
That's the one
It's
that I
dead
bought
now.
from him
Oh, that makes me sad.
because he really wanted me to play Last of Us. I had not played Last of Us at that point. You had a new PS3, yeah, right?
I
You had 2 PS3s. You had the red one.
I don't even remember who
it
I
red
bought
one?
it from, but I bought.
He did have a red one.
I do. I still do.
Yeah,
No, I bought that PS3 from
Beers, whatever his name was.
What-
David Lopan.
Yeah, Blair. That's fine.
Yeah, that's who I bought it from, and then I very shortly after bought the God of War PS3
Right.
like package or
Right.
whatever.
So you sold me that. You gave me a bunch of games and Last of Us. But yeah, I remember playing GTA 5 and putting in the disc and it loaded the load screen and literally the fans on this thing. Like I really
Just
thought it was going to
immediately.
take off and
Yeah.
like
And since then,
transform into a rocket ship and like below a hole
it's
in my
gone.
roof.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Since
I was
then,
like, okay,
you-
never playing this
Yeah.
game again. Not
yeah,
worth it.
and you haven't. You never played it.
No, I've never played GTA
Yeah.
5. No, I just went and played Last of Us like 9 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you should.
Yeah. Oh, it's still my favorite game.
Okay, you redeemed yourself for the Portal.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I find like the inside information about like the way that like a developer kit is sent. Like we talk a lot about being like armchair developers all the time, like
Sure.
yelling at developers, like why didn't you do this as like the gamer?
No, I
So you
literally
probably would
yell
honestly
at
hate
developers.
us. You'd probably hate us a little bit because you're like, like what you're saying is just not like you can't do. It's not that easy, you know.
There's.
but-
I'm gonna look up a term.
No,
there's a term for this where the less you know about something, the easier it seems to you. There's an official
of
like
course.
Yeah.
term.
I think it's for any
Like, I'm
industry.
on it.
Like,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
apply to any
It is.
like topic.
No, I mean,
or
I was
field of
doing a Fallout.
specification.
Sorry, I was doing an Uncharted 4 on crushing, like difficulty
Oh, jeez.
stream, and it was so hard. I was screaming
Dunning
out.
Kruger effect.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we go. I was screaming out Neil Druckmann's name on the like over and over. And Druckmann.
We're gonna get to a point one day. I was
tweeting at
Neil,
him.
Can we interview about Uncharted?
He's like,
17?
"You're the dude."
He's like,
Oh, I saw
"Fucking
Felix
asshole,
You're good on his stream,
screaming
man.
my name on his stream. You're not talking to me ever."
No,
So
not tweeted at him too.
I have a question. What is the did they send the foot pedal? I don't know why interests me so much. But is it like
Really curious.
Is it like because they have a UI? I'm assuming. Like, do they have like what the PlayStation UI is at this point, or no? You're just loading right into a game.
Yeah, it's just a development box that has hardware in it.
Did
And
they
I'm
give you
using,
the controller that you were?
There's a
gonna use
controller,
then?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's the same controller as PS2.
Right.
They had it. It just didn't have
But,
6
like,
axis.
at the
It didn't have
time,
6 axis in it.
They
It
were
didn't
going to
have-
use the boomerang at one point, but
It was-
they like
They shelved that pretty
they
quickly.
shell. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. When people are like, "What is this silver banana controller?"
Yeah.
Like,
It was
get
so
out of
thin
here.
and weird.
If I remember, they couldn't get like the trademark for the DualShock that they were making for the PS2s at the end of their life, but they couldn't get the rights to it or something. But at the end of as soon as right before the PS3 was being launched, they were like, "Okay, we got it. We can put the 6-axis controllers into the."
Yeah.
As far as I remember, this is like 2006.
Yeah, I don't remember the entire thing. I just remember like the boomerang was there,
Mm-hmm.
and then everyone was like, "Ew," and then everyone was like, "Go back to the old one." They went back to the old one, and now everyone is like, "Why won't they change your controller?"
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
it's like you can't.
You can't win.
And at
Can't win.
this
You
point,
can't.
I love that controller.
PS4
so.
controller is a great upgrade.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
not
like it.
upgrade,
Feels
but it's a
better.
great
I love the 4-1.
evolution of.
There's
the
different
PlayStation.
ergonomics in it that.
But it's also
The
like
feel,
why
you know?
okay. I used a Duke controller, and like
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yes.
and it's stupid.
You gonna
like,
buy it again? They made the new ones with the LCD screen on it.
Maybe
Wow.
if like I just stumble upon extra
Sure.
money, which won't happen. But like the PlayStation controller has always been a superior controller. Like I've been an Xbox gamer my entire
Even
life.
I was going to say you were like a Halo player.
And I love the Elite, like the idea of the Elite controller, like I love it, and I would never trade it in for a normal Xbox. Like a normal Xbox controller feels like a piece of paper compared to the Elite. But the PlayStation has always had a superior layout, and it's like why change what's not like?
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like the PS4 upgrade was like a natural evolution, adding that central bar in the middle and things like that. Like don't like radically change something that works.
But
perfectly
I'm
well.
a spaz though, so that bar is like a pain in my ass. I tap it all the time.
Well, yeah, okay, you're a spaz.
So they actually
I did
made
it today like 3 times.
this banana controller. I only saw concepts of it. Like
I
the
think it was
renders.
only
I saw
a
in
prototype.
pictures. I saw in pictures.
Yeah. I will say, the PS4 controller, the PlayStation controller, is perfect for certain games. Not all games.
Yeah.
I never like. I always have all the consoles,
Sure.
and I always play first-person shooters on an Xbox.
Oh yeah,
And I never play an FPS on a PlayStation. Any
I'm the
third-person
same way.
action game, anything like that, you're right. Perfect for PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Perfect
Is it
for
the
PlayStation.
analog stick alignment?
Yes,
Is that it?
It's exactly
is.
what it
Okay.
is. It's
And
exactly
it's
what it
funny
is.
that you mentioned that because I never knew, so I'm glad you're validating this because I just like the shooters that I grew up with were obviously Halo, right, with my background. So like that's all I knew was an Xbox controller. So I thought it was just like me being used to it. Like I could never I've never played a shooter on a PlayStation controller. I've only ever played third person like action games as well. But I know you guys have done shooters on it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was about
I've
to
done
say.
both, yeah.
I was literally talking to Felix before we came over here as we're waiting to get our food about how I feel more comfortable on the PS4, even for things like Destiny. I feel like I could perform surgery with my Destiny character on a PS4, but not on the Xbox. Like I can get there and I can be adequate, but I think it's just the training and the time, and I just
Well,
my
it's
thumbs,
also your hand orientate, like you like
my
these,
thumbs live here forever.
right? Your thought like it's everything,
Yeah.
right?
But like for some people, they keep on the D-pad like items and stuff. So like people are naturally going to reach down, or do they reach up when they like? It's whatever you're comfortable with because the
Sure.
D-pad is switched with that.
Yeah.
I do have an example of where a controller that changed over time really like fucked me in my ability to play something. So as I like Smash Brothers a lot, played Melee for hundreds and hundreds of hours, and Melee and a little bit of Brawl. So when my brother goes, let's play the Wii U version, and he gives me the Pro controller, and they flipped both of the analog sticks to the top, I couldn't play the game at all. It was like I'm a toddler trying to figure out how to.
Oh, sure.
They switched the whole control scheme on me, and it was like playing a new game again.
It's like you were given a triangle trying to put it through a square block.
Yeah, but but my whole life I was like, this triangle always fits through this hole. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, it always.
Well, that's
weird.
because you have a natural comfort level with if you have to think about it, then you're already at a loss.
Yeah.
Like you're in a first person shooter or in a fighting game, like you need to not worry about what these are doing.
The controls are doing. Yeah,
like this literally just needs to be second nature, and if it's not, you're already losing.
Oh yeah.
And that's why like
It was
holding
awful.
a PlayStation controller and then having to do this and never.
I know it's just my
Never.
personal
Could never
experience,
do
but playing Sea of Thieves, I'm like, how do I take my fucking gun? Oh, it's okay. Yeah. I have to look at it all the
You have to
time.
look at it,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Nintendo Switch, when I moved to it, I got like their controller, like the Pro controller.
Pro
for that.
controller.
And the problem I have is I guess you're going to call it the primary action button on most controllers is like the one at the bottom.
It's swapped.
And they moved it to what on an Xbox would be called B.
A and B or Switch.
That is a common Japanese control scheme,
I get it.
which is funny enough. The
I can't
PlayStation
change it.
I get it, but I'm American.
the
American.
PlayStation controller, the triangle, circle, X, and square. So they put the X at the bottom and the circle at
On the right.
On your right, because X is no and circle is yes. So like in Metal Gear Solid, when you're playing that, you're hitting
Or every Final Fantasy up through probably 10, I think.
yeah. You're hitting circle for like this menu's yes.
Confirmation.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then X is your cancel. That was just like a little fun fact for you.
It's
Like,
fun.
yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, it's annoying as shit.
No. I'm now like not ambidextrous. I can play all three controllers, and my mind can just switch. I was telling him that I'm one of these people where I grew up my whole life playing both, and I have no complaints. I can play first person shooters on both, and
Yeah, but there's I guess that just goes to your mindset into it because I can't I don't like to lose. Like I hate losing. So
I don't like to lose.
No, I know you don't, but you don't care that much.
I don't know. Have you seen his streams?
No, okay, against AI.
We're talking, remember
what
Trials, back when we would do
Oh, I
Trials
don't care.
back in
So
the day?
what I'm saying is
Yeah.
I could function playing a shooter, like my hands still work. I'm just like I'd rather play an action game or Until Dawn, where I just have to hold the controller and hit a button every 25 minutes,
Play in quotes.
Yeah,
Until
play in
Dawn.
quotes, right? Versus if I were to lose because I hit the wrong button. Or,
That's what I'm
I
saying.
can't
I'm
aim.
not. I guess I'm not in tune enough with the controller to feel that it's the controller causing me to lose.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right. Most of the time, my immediate instinct is to jump up. No offense, Nick, up the developer's ass when I'm losing,
And blame them instead of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always
Well,
our
as
fault.
we should.
Yeah, or me just being terrible at a game.
Wow, that was a long controller talk.
I blame myself a lot.
So you're developing on the PS3 dev kit,
yep.
right? So you're at this part in the story. You're at Vivendi,
Vivendi.
and you're developing what at this point?
So we were after Fear was shipped. I moved over to a game called Time Shift.
Which
Okay.
you let me play. I think you gave.
I probably gave you a copy.
I think you gave me
ago.
a copy of Time Shift.
But the game the version
It's
that
360, obviously,
360,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
This wasn't Time Splitters, was it?
No,
No, it was just a completely
Time
separate
Shift.
game.
God, you don't know my discography? Come on, man.
And I'm on your website
Come on.
here, and I'm like, okay, he's got.
Well, that was
Clusterpuck.
a different. That was a different.
Different
company.
time.
Hey, Nick, I know this is your story, but are you sure it wasn't this
I'm
time
pretty
Splitters?
positive.
Splitters is the one
Look
everyone
at it.
knows.
Leo's like, I know what
I
game you worked.
I would have
on.
loved to work on Time Splitters, but that was in the UK. I was in.
okay.
Yeah. So I worked
Yeah,
on Time
Neil.
Shift.
Right.
But it was in a different state at that point than the release version. Time Shift was a game that was being published by Atari at first, and it was a steampunked out time manipulation game, first person shooter.
Right.
Vivendi and Sierra picked it up and then gave the developer Saber Interactive a little bit more time to modernize it and get away from steampunk because no one likes steampunk.
Aw,
that might
I
be
like
controversial,
steampunk, yeah.
but I hate it
At
personally.
that time,
I think
now
it's
it's
still
pretty-
true. I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot. Yeah.
It doesn't play too much in video games. I think BioShock is as close you're going to get to an
Dishonored
acceptable
does
level
it. Dishonored
of
does
Steam.
it a
Well,
little
yeah,
bit.
Dishonored is pretty
Yeah.
steampunk.
Yeah, but
Kind
I think
of.
BioShock Infinite was
That's about it.
that's about it.
Outside of the dress up cosplay Twitter community, you're not really going too hard into Steampunk
Whale
environment.
oil punk worked really well in Dishonored.
Let's say, yeah, like if you use steampunk as like a
Whale
baseline
oil
and then
punk?
build off of it.
It's not
Sure.
steam; it's whale oil.
Whale oil punk? Is
Yeah.
that a real?
I don't know if we should go down this whole.
No,
I'm not. We're not. I'm
No,
just-
that's the
I think-
energy in the game.
am I right?
That's what powers things in
Wow.
Dishonored.
Yeah.
Whale oil, yeah.
I think we should just drive
Not
down
Steam.
the highway and not get
Yeah.
the controller talk was enough.
Please continue.
that was not as much of a non sequitur as you thought. He
I
knew
thought-
where I was
No,
talking
I
about.
picked it up.
Totally
I know what you're.
random. Yeah, yeah.
I've played games.
Yeah.
I just didn't, I thought it was like a Felix term.
Oh, I very well thought it was a Felix term.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not alone. Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought he was being himself.
Just
Alright,
every
so-
like you just add a new type of like fuel every couple of years. You just change the term punk.
I mean, it's becoming like a huge thing cosplay.
Yeah, I mean it's always has been.
Because
People
of
like to put
Dishonored.
gears on shit and
Dishonored.
thinks it looks cool.
Okay, maybe that's the version of steampunk I hate, and that's kind of what Time Shift was for a while. But we used the extra year development time to actually like put a more like sci-fi futuristic spin on
Okay.
things, like a more of a like a future dystopian
Yeah, yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing.
Shit's
right?
got
Which it definitely
a little
had.
Weird, yeah.
Yeah,
It definitely had
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So the developer Saber Interactive that was doing Time Shift were actually located both in New Jersey and St. Petersburg, Russia. So within that year's time, like they were on a crunch schedule, they needed to get the game out. So Vivendi sent people out there to St. Petersburg, Russia, to help them finish the game, and I was one of those people.
Oh, nice.
So I went to St. Petersburg and lived there for a year.
Yeah.
I was there for 6 months. Had to come back to the U.S., get a new visa, and go back again for 6 months. So
and
like,
they paid for that, right?
yeah,
For
I had
living there.
like apartments, like expense account. And the whole
that's
thing.
awesome.
Yeah, like it was amazing. It was my first time actually out of the country.
Yeah.
And it was like thrown into like a job which was like super important, and like I was starting to build my career. Thrown into a foreign country where I didn't speak the language, into a studio, like development studio.
Did you come back with a Russian wife?
No, unfortunately not.
All right.
No.
That's awesome though, man. That's the best way to just like have a crazy adventure, you know?
Yeah.
Especially with someone like footing the bill for usually the most important stuff.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
I was living on someone else's dime in
That's
St.
amazing,
Petersburg
man.
for a year. It was fantastic.
That's sweet.
So I took a team out there, and what we did was we worked with the development team to make sure the game was out on time.
Did you guys like, I guess, like form their schedule and prioritize certain things over other stuff to make sure that the right like manpower is put to the right effect to make it on time and stuff like that?
Yeah, so Saber had their own production team that did a lot of that. There's also the publishing production team from Vivendi that came over and helped them do that. I was the QA lead, so I was working with the QA team and the production team to make sure that those things stayed on track, and like we were like up to date on builds, and we were coordinating with the team in LA to make sure like when we were sleeping or out partying, they were working in the office, and like everything was like on this like
Always- we're always
24-hour
working,
cycle
yeah.
of like constant
insane.
like checks and balances to make sure like we hit that November date, which was we released I think a week before Halo 3.
Right.
Or right about the same time, and that was a big battle that a lot of people didn't know about. Was like a lot of people weren't so hot on Halo 3, and
That's because it wasn't a good game.
well, it's Halo 3. It had more marketing than
of
we
course,
did.
of course. Yeah.
But I think there was actually a lot of reviewers that preferred Time Shift over that, and I was like, we were like, oh my god, it's like amazing, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But of course, it gets buried like most games. So
Oh my God.
Halo 3 lives on in
Looking at
time.
the cover for it right
it's,
now.
it's Panty Face.
I recognize this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
We called the main character Thong Face or Panty Face because he had a yellow
Oh, yeah,
he has a
he's got
yellow
like a-
visor. Yeah.
Got like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's crazy is like I know like you had encouraged me to play it, and I think you had either given me a copy or whatever it may be, and like I knew playing it, and I played the whole series that like exactly what you're talking about. I would have just played Halo 3. Like as a consumer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and I was also like younger too at that point. Like I wouldn't have like taken a chance on a game that I wasn't necessarily aware of. I would have went with, especially for me personally.
If all
like,
your friends are playing
off-
Halo 3, I can be like,
I'm gonna buy Halo 3.
I'm really not
yeah,
going to get into
but I
this
love.
one.
I was a huge fan of the game at that point because I played through it.
That's
But-
a larger conversation about launching new IP, how hard it is. Like it's
crazy.
insanely hard, right? Because like, okay, let's say Halo 3 got a Metacritic average of an 8 and Time Shift got a Metacritic average of a 7. Like comparable, right? They're two good games, but people are going to go play Halo.
Yeah.
It's like it's name recognition.
what Titanfall's done.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, it's a great example.
Yeah.
yeah. Like Titanfall 2 was
Titanfall 2 is
a fantastic game.
incredible.
Yeah, and it got buried. And you talked a lot about Titanfall 2.
Yeah, I got it when it came out a year or two ago, and that campaign is fantastic.
This is one of the best shooter campaigns I've ever played. I've
In
played
years.
like a lot of games.
It reminded me of like Half-Life 2 in a lot of parts, where it introduced the mechanics and then like kind of like threw them away, and then like here's the next thing we want you to do, and I was like, oh,
And it wasn't like
fantastic.
a bunch of just like half-baked ideas over a course of like a 10-level campaign. They were like 10 solid gameplay mechanics that kept you engaged, and like on top of the movement mechanics in the game, like it was like I cannot say enough good things about that game. It was so good. It was so good.
And EA buried it between two major releases of sequels, of like
Yeah.
major sequels.
But
What
hopefully
were the
that'll change.
releases at that point?
It was between Call of Duty and the Battlefield 1.
Battlefield.
Battlefield squashed
So
it.
and it was EA put it out right between they launched Titanfall 2 right between both those games.
And we've talked a lot about like, you know, Shadow of Colossus remake was something we talked about recently where like they released that game when nothing else was coming out at the time.
And it
Perfect
sells
time
like
for
crazy.
it. Yeah.
And also, like, not a lot of people played Shadow of Colossus on PS2, so you had a lot of people not playing it, a lot of people looking for a new game to play, and it crushed sales because of that. Where, like, a game like this, you know, like, it's a great game that no one plays, or they play 5 years later, and they're like, how did I ever make it
They put
this long?
Titanfall 2 out in that, like, spring or, like, post year, I think it would have done amazing.
So I have a question for you, Nick,
Yeah.
actually, on this topic. How much of your development schedule influences the release date? Like, does it affect that, or are the
Or is it the
publishers
other way
like,
around?
no, it's going to come out this date, like it or not?
No, so it has a huge effect on the whole development cycle. So as we're like, let's say we're doing a new game, and we scope it out, and we put together, okay, it's going to take us 12 months. 12 months is going to land us in August of 2019, or whatever it happens to be. I'm just making stuff up.
Sure.
August 2019. We look at that and we're like, nah, that's not going to work. That's the beginning of the quote-unquote holiday season. Like, there's no good time to release a game anymore. So what it used to be was let all the big holiday releases come out. You're free and clear from January to March, which is why Mass Effects used to come out in March or February, March time. EA used to release them around then. January from March was you were free and clear. The holiday rush was over.
That's where BioWare is targeting for
Anthem?
Anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People had their
Interesting.
money, they had
Wow.
their gifts, their gift cards, like they're ready to buy new games,
Sure.
like they're coming down off their Christmas binge or whatever it is, and they're ready for some new stuff. It's not like that anymore. It's literally every month now. It's just packed with releases.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So like it's crazy like over the years how things have kind of evolved, and like this schedule has gotten like way more compressed and way more compact, and like you just have to kind of roll with it. And there's not a lot you can do. A lot of the times if you are coming out against the bigger title, it's just all about your publishing partner and marketing power.
Do you find out like late, kind of? Is it like too far gone at that point?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
You usually find out at the big shows when people announce, and you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
They're coming out 2 weeks before us, or they're coming out in September.
crazy.
And you're like,
Is that what happened with Halo 3?
yeah, kind of. There's a lot of stuff.
You
that-
guys like looked at your character and Halo's character, and you were like, "This kind of looks alike."
Well, I mean, Master Chief was around before.
Yeah,
before
yeah,
Commander
he'd been
Chief,
around
but, like,
for 2 games.
But you know, a lot of that stuff, right? Like, we're not privy to what Microsoft's release schedule is. We don't know until everyone else knows. Like,
Yeah.
everyone's developing their own game in a vacuum.
Okay, I think that's kind
So-
of a part of my question too.
Yeah.
So it really is like you're totally isolated working on your project, and then you just find out.
Yeah, it's why developers sometimes develop the same game, and they don't know that until you both publicly release it, and there's
Oh,
just
it's
like
nuts.
similarities
It's so
between
crazy.
the two things, and you're like, did they steal our idea?
Yeah.
And it's like,
movies do that all the time, and I always thought that was on purpose. Like, you know, like Armageddon and you know, when they those movies that they
Yeah.
what I'm
There was
talking
Oh,
about?
you're talking about Deep Impact and
yeah, you're
and
talking.
Armageddon?
You're talking.
Yeah.
No, you're talking about a different
Volcano
industry.
and Dante's Peak were also another.
yeah,
thing for
that's it. That was
Yeah.
it. Those were one of them.
No, but you're talking about a different industry and in different like some of that I think is planned. Like,
Gotcha.
I think they definitely.
I think it's a lot more visible too in the movie industry because like you know what scripts are being sold, you
Yeah.
know what things are being done.
Yeah.
Like you don't know what game deals are being done. Like you don't know. I mean, you have a general idea if you're being represented by someone who's like, okay, like I heard so and so signed with so and so.
They can
like,
push a movie out in 6 months. They can make a movie in 6 months. Have it
They
edited
really
in
need to.
3.
Depends on.
I guess VFX.
But I'm saying, like under a
Yeah,
year,
seriously,
they
it
could have a
depends
movie made.
on how much.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
And how
like,
much of it is real.
You can't. Nick can't, being a part of a development studio, learn that a game might be coming out with another company and then just roll
Yeah,
into
you can't cut
something.
3
You can't
months
shift
off of
gears.
Off of a
Seriously, I'll
test
give you.
cycle.
I'll skip ahead a couple of games and I'll give you like a real great example of that.
Okay.
So after Time Shift, the developer Saber Interactive offered me a production position, and then I moved from LA to New Jersey to work in their offices, and then continued to work in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
So from there, let me try to think of everything that I worked on there. I worked on some mediocre movie titles like Battle Los Angeles and R.I.P.D. So I got to work with Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges on that
Did you
Oh,
really?
they do voices?
half-baked comic book. No, they didn't want to. Couldn't even use their likenesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that wasn't part of the deal. So we did.
R.I.P.D. Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
did those games.
What a movie!
I know, terrible.
I didn't even know they made-
I think I watched the movie like with you too.
Maybe I was on set for a little bit. We were getting like assets and like we were. got
I
to
didn't
visit
even
the
know
set.
they made games out of those movies.
It was an Xbox Live arcade game.
Wow.
It was part of like one of the summer of arcades. You know.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. They make games out of anything.
yeah. I don't care.
So then from there, I worked on a game called God Mode, which was a co-op shooter, third-person co-op shooter that Atlas published. Worked on a game called Inversion with Namco Bandai, which was Namco's shot at making a Gears of War clone. And they asked us to do it. And then
I think
since
I
we
remember
did,
this game.
yeah, since we did Time with Time Shift, let's do Gravity. So we did that. I mean, it was cool. Like there were some cool elements to it. So an example of that is the Zero G movement. No one else was doing it at that time. We had no idea. And then EA shows the Dead Space trailer at E3. And you have Isaac flying around in Zero G.
Yeah.
And we're like, God damn it. We thought we had this one super, like, we had a lot of Gravity stuff going on in the game. And we had this whole end of the game, this big bombastic Zero G gunfight. You're flying through the wreckage of the spaceship.
And you're so excited for
And we're
this.
like, no one's doing this. We have Gears of War style third-person cover mechanics in Zero G. Like you're
shit.
pushing off and you're latching on the things and you're moving back and forth. And then we see Isaac do it, and we're like, "Fuck!" God shit. We're like, "No, no, no."
Wow, dude.
But again, like it just happens. Like
Yeah.
you like.
Do you look for like moles at that point? You're like, who the fuck talks?
No, it's like, it's like what you said. Like, there's a term for it. Like people are going to have the same idea about something,
Yeah.
and it's just a matter of
Transcendentalism.
is it? Yeah,
That's the term.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, he just throws out things, so you could just say, yeah, it's probably accurate.
I mean, I don't know. I just know the Johnny.
Sounds right.
It was that Johnny Depp movie that was kind of bad.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Transcendence.
Yes. Was it Transcendence?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
it.
Isn't transcendental something else? Like
It's
an art
it's a
movement
type
or
of
something?
Really good
meditation.
album.
But yeah, I mean, it's true.
I thought they're
like
the same thing.
Like I feel like video games go through these, and we've talked about this like a ton. Like
go through they go through, like, trends.
Games.
Yeah.
So we did what we did. We did open world games, right? Like
MOBAs.
we're starting to get to a point with like open world games where it's like fucking stop with
Yeah.
the open
Stop
world
it, yeah.
games. MOBAs, battle royale right
Royale,
now,
That's coming
right?
up. That's happening.
We had
we're in it. We're in the middle of that.
We're in the
right
middle.
now.
Yeah, every game is going to have a battle royale expansion.
We have MOBAs.
MOBAs.
Everyone was trying to do an MMO at one point.
Yeah, I mean, it happened. So the idea that like there's at that point you're talking about a lot of different studios and development cycles that could potentially, like, there's nothing saying that Trip doesn't have the same idea as me, and he's at a studio nowhere near me, just like
We're just
dude,
working.
no one's done Zero Gravity.
We're just cooking.
Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
And you're sunk. Both companies are sunk millions and millions of dollars both in
Yeah, you
development
can't
and
go
marketing.
back
Like,
at
you
that
can't.
point.
Like
Yeah.
no, there's no going back from there. You just got to hope that
Dude,
you
that's
can
crazy.
beat them
Like something
in terms
yeah.
of quality and marketing. Make sure your title's more visible than theirs. You know, but like Namco and EA is always going to outspend Namco.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we worked on Inversion. I worked on Inversion. That was pretty cool. And then from there, we started working on Halo titles with Microsoft in 343. So
Cool.
I was working on Halo, the Master Chief Collection. And then I started working on, Halo Anniversary.
Right.
And
Combat
then,
Evolved.
and then the Master Chief Collection. And I left right before, I left the company and formed my current company, PHL Collective, right before Master Chief Collection shipped. The last official title that I was working on at Saber was Shaq Fu 2.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
I was doing pre-production for that title before it hit Indiegogo. I left maybe a week before the Indiegogo campaign went live.
That still hasn't come out yet. I don't think.
It's coming out probably next couple months. I think
Oh, cool.
it's already been like it's going to get a box version. It's listed on a bunch of stores. Like it's there. I kind of know what happened. I don't think I'm at liberty to say.
Sure.
But it was not because of quality or anything like that. I think there's some other things happening.
Sure.
It's crazy.
But another example of doing the same game as someone else, there's a game that we were working on at Saber with a developer, with a publisher I can't mention. It was a open world third-person shooter that had you rummaging and scavenging through a city that was taken over by an outside force. And then The Division was announced.
Oh man.
The game that we were working on at Saber ended up being canceled. This was after I left. I found out about this, but like,
You're not beating the Division.
no, we're not being the
Right.
but also like it's it's the same idea, right? Like if something is kind of popular, if someone has an idea about doing something, like people are going to build upon it and put the same kind of mechanics on it.
To a similar space.
Another designer, right? If they're talented or whatever, if they're having this, if they're playing the same games you are, they're going to come up with that same idea.
Sure.
So
sure. And I mean, when did we first see Division? Jesus, we saw Division we saw the Division
2013.
And what's launch of Division 2-3 years later?
2015.
Right. So I mean, you see this trailer, especially if you're working on it, and then the game doesn't even come out for another 3 years. I mean, it's crazy. It really is crazy to think about it that way.
Is that a power move by developers to say to put a claim on this concept if they drop something super early?
I'll tell you, it's like paralyzing. Like I was in St. Petersburg, and we weren't at E3 that year. I'm pretty sure that's where they announced the Division for the first time. It makes sense. That's probably where Ubisoft did it. And with the day-night cycle, like we didn't catch it until like the next morning.
Oh, true. Yeah, you guys are sleeping.
And we saw it, and like it was like our hearts dropped out of our chests. Like we were like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And then of course there's I open up my email in the morning, and it's like tons of emails from the publisher, and there's and then shit just goes crazy, right? And everyone's like, now what do we do? You know? And it's like, well, you either forge forward and try to come up with maybe some new ideas, maybe they're not watch that trailer like 1,000 times to see if you could pick anything up, see what they're doing that you're not.
Yeah.
But
and money's been spent at that point.
Dude,
so much money. At that point, it's like, do you continue to do that and battle against EA? I've had plenty of conversations again, or it was Ubisoft. Right? Yeah. But it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing. You're battling against
a massive
huge
publisher,
right?
Well, with Emergent, it came out, but in this instance with this game, the publisher. They were like, "No, we're going to."
The accountants crunch the numbers and they go, "It's going to be better to take a loss."
I don't even know if that. It might have just been a creative decision, but the word came down. They're like, "This is over."
It. Wow.
So you do Combat Evolved, the Anniversary Edition,
yes,
right, and then you also do Master Chief Collection, or you leave before Master Chief Collection?
I worked on Master Chief Collection and then left. Actually, the other Halo game that was in there was Halo Free to Play.
That's an online game from China. That's in China.
That's public knowledge now. That the builds are out there. People know about that. People have played it.
I mean, there's still people.
That in the news. There's still people playing it.
Probably.
I saw people playing a lot.
If you're not in America, it's very easy to play.
Right.
I mean, if you are, you can still
figure it out.
Yeah. I think I tried.
I don't know. Did I ever tell you about how disappointed? I know these guys know about how disappointed I was with Master Chief Collection.
So was I.
I think a lot of people were.
I bought it. I worked on it. I bought it. And
I took a week off of work to play Master Chief Collection.
You worked on it and you had to pay for it?
Yeah, I bought it. Yeah, because I left before it came out. And They actually cut me out of the credits too. They didn't send me a copy, and they didn't put me in the credits.
Oh man,
dicks. Well, good. That's what they deserve for creating a fucking shit game that I couldn't even play. So listen, here's the thing. So I take off a week off of work because I'm like, I'm gonna be able to play Halo 1 online. I'm gonna be able to play Halo 2 online again. Like, duh.
Just so stoked.
Week off of work, midnight, stand outside at the GameStop past Philly U, wherever that was, at some GameStop somewhere near Philly U. Get home, turn it on, boom, no matchmaking. The whole week, matchmaking did not work. Their live servers completely tanked, and at that point, it was dead in the water. Like everyone was like, "Okay, well, we're just going to move on to the next multiplayer game." There was so much hype around Master Chief Collection. Like, you're seriously going to bring Halo 1, like Combat Evolved, to Xbox Live, and you're going to redo Halo 2, and there was all of this hype, and then everyone just left it after that. And it's so disappointing because it was like you can only play Halo Combat Evolved if you used XBC at the time, which was the free version of Xbox Live, which was hosted through your computer. You used to be able to join live servers, right? So you used to be able to do that.
Look up my Xbox.
I used to do it all the time for Combat Evolved. You used to just you would create a LAN network where it thought that all of your Xboxes were connected to one another. Right, and you'd be able to do a multiplayer with Halo.
I loved doing that.
And you could do it with any game. You would be able to do any live game, any live Xbox game. And it was, oh God. I mean, all I think about is not being able to play it. It's so disappointing.
Those are now your Master Chief memories.
So disappointing.
It is disappointing. I mean, and it sucks too because I know a lot of the reasons and what's going into it. Again, I can't talk about some of that stuff, but it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I can only imagine what it feels like about being the one that's working on it, and then like feeling the pressure of like hearing everything,
seeing the
about
outrage.
it. Like,
And,
oh yeah, I mean, like because you crunch and kill yourself to get to that point, right?
Yeah.
And then like, let's say you put it in for cert, and then you have another month for a day one patch, and you have all this other stuff. You hit day one, you're like, you feel like a little bit of relief because it's out, and you get to celebrate, and then immediately you're like, shit's broke. We got to start working again, and it like it sucks, but like.
yeah,
It's
running a
weird, like
live
being a
game.
developer and talking about this. 'Cause,
of
like,
course, yeah, because
we kill ourselves to kind of get
sure,
these things out.
yeah.
I mean, especially on the bigger titles, like people just. I mean, it kind of leads into why I started my studio. Like people burn themselves the fuck out to make these games work for people, and like it
It's
doesn't
very-
work a lot of times.
Yeah.
And it's like you just have to roll with it. And
Well,
keep-
also like we, like myself included, don't care.
I know, and you spend
Right?
$60
Like-
on a game, and like it should work when you buy
Yeah,
it.
you just care about
You
the
know,
But
like-
then
product,
also,
if
but
it
then
works,
then you
yeah.
start hearing things about like what people that are also like you're not in the industry solely because like you're great at drawing, because if you were great at drawing and that alone, like you do
So
other
many other
things.
things
Like
you could do
you're
with
part
it,
of the
yeah.
industry because like you have an appreciation for the art form and for the industry. So like you're also a fan of it as well. So like it's also disappointing to be a part of that. So it's not even the $60. It's just like we lose that connection of like there's another version of me sitting somewhere creating this for
making
myself.
this. Yeah, exactly.
And like that person let me down, and like I don't care in the moment. I'm just like, why the fuck can't I play Halo 1?
Yeah,
that's a
I'm just
good
trying
point.
to play Halo
I
1.
can't imagine how Bungie's
Yeah, I was
feels
going to
day
say
in, day out. with
any
Destiny
live
2.
service game, like
Yeah.
they must go through that regularly.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
I can't even imagine like the back end work that goes with the server and creating the online experience.
Yeah, there's live
like,
op like server people that are working 24 hours a day to make sure that like whatever
Your
works.
game doesn't go down. Yeah.
and that talks a little bit about like the article that The Verge produced about Telltale and how Telltale lost some of its key
Yeah.
people because of that, right? And like you can speak more than anyone, if you can speak, about like what that's like to be in it in the moment during crunch time trying to produce something for someone, and then like having all these outside sources, aka the people that are in charge, like pressuring you to make it happen, you know? What were you gonna say?
I was telling Nick a little bit before the recording that when I was in college, I took a video game industry class. Basically, I went to Temple University.
Right.
So I take a video game industry class, and at one point, the guy who taught the class brought in a friend of his who worked at Red Storm. Red Storm's Ubisoft's
North Carolina company.
North Carolina company. He comes in and he basically talked the entire room out of wanting to be game developers because he sat up there and just complained about how it's like a sweatshop.
Oh my god.
But the thing I wanted to ask you about, Nick, that he brought up, and I wanted to see if your thoughts echo. He said that the thing he hates the most on Earth is Metacritic.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't get me started. I mean, I referenced Metacritic when talking about Halo and Time Shift, but
He was saying that like anything under an 8 is bad.
yes. Okay, so here's the thing. Oh God, I'm gonna get into it. It's like Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
right? Like if you're like, if movie is 99% fresh, like you're like, okay, this is perfect, right? And if it's like 70% or 80%, you're like, nah, it's not that good. It's like, yeah, it's okay, right?
but it's still good.
It's
though.
above
It's still a
average.
good movie.
This is a fantastic movie.
Maybe I'll see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm holding out for the 85% movies.
So the issue
My
with
parents are like that. It's so annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
the issue with Metacritic is, and it's the same kind of issue with Steam Spy, is that people use that, publishers or decision makers, retailers use that as a metric to then sign your next game or to qualify you as a developer of what you can make and what they can expect, content and quality wise.
Oh wow!
So there was a point. It's still happening. It's not as, I don't think it's as out there as it used to be. Like if you had a Metacritic score of a 6 on your game, or even maybe a 7, 6.5, somewhere in that scale and below, you're not signing a new game. People aren't going to look at you. Like if you were in the yellow of Metacritic,
Which
it's
is
like your game sucked. It's like you might as well not even have made it. Like it's like a 2.
Which, like, there's
like-
fantastic games that are 7s and 8s,
Yes.
which I think you can only get green if you're 9 or 10.
I think it's 8, 9,
or
and 10.
is
are
it 8, 9, and
greens.
10 that's
Yeah,
green?
yeah.
Okay. So if you're a 7, which is still like you flip a coin and majority of the chances you're going to like the game because it's a 7, you're not considered worthy to make another one.
It's insane.
crazy.
So like Metacritic it's great that it exists, and it's great that people have a portal to go to see an average of what people are thinking about a game.
Yeah.
But it's being used as like the arbiter of how good you are as a developer, and you're going to live or die as a studio by your Metacritic number, and it sucks. And like, here's the thing: let's say you get a 6. It's not always your fault. It's not always for like creative or like your ability to execute. It's other stuff. It's publisher. It's timing. It's someone else in the marketplace. Like, there's so many other factors that are coming into that, and it's crazy that publishers, when considering you as a developer to sign a game, don't consider that. They only consider what your score is, and it's like it's
even though they play a huge part in
Yes,
what your score
absolutely.
is.
Yeah.
They're like, nah, it's not our fault.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Your
crazy.
fault, developer.
Oh, what? You needed a few more months, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We told you this date.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just it's crazy.
It is.
And it's crazy that it's just some like website, like it's just some random website, like
Yeah.
at the like Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And I'm the asshole that also
a
checks
number
Rotten
aggregator.
Tomatoes. So
Some person was just like, hey, this would be a good idea to throw out there.
And like Steam Spy is great, right? Steam Spy is not accurate, not even close to being accurate.
Oh, wow.
It gives you a good indication, like a decent indication of what those numbers are for
Yeah.
Steam sales. But retailers like Walmart or Target or Best Buy, they use that website to gauge their buy-in or how many copies of like your physical game. Like, so let's say we made a game and like we went to a publisher and they want to do a physical copy of it, right? And maybe it was a port or something like that, right? And you're like, okay, here's our Target, here's our Xbox One and PS4 version. Their decision holders will check Steam Spy and base their decision on like, you know,
and like,
on those numbers.
like you just said,
And,
it's not
yeah.
accurate.
No, it's not accurate. Not even close. It's crazy. Like it's insane. It's like I don't know. Again, like any
you might,
industry,
as
like
well
any
just like
industry,
shake a magic 8 ball and be like, "Yep, we're gonna do
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
guys." Said yes.
Well, we're sorry to give you a paper cut and pour lemon juice in it.
Yeah, it's again any industry is going to have these issues, right? But like we're talking
Yeah.
games,
Yeah,
so these
sure.
are the issues with the game industry. For a
Yeah,
lot of,
sure.
for a lot of-
I figured your response was going to be the same as his, because he was so burned out from working at Red Storm.
But
This
that
guy.
I mean that kind of speaks to like yourself being burnt out. Like you saw a moment in time where it's just like I break away and I create my own and what I want it to be, or I continue, right? Like that's kind of the fork in the road you saw, right? It's
Yeah.
like do I continue going down this path and maybe continue to progress through the ladder of corporate developers or whatever it may be, or do I say, you know what, no, like I don't want to be a part of that, let me create my own and make it better than what I've been a part of for the better part of whatever how many years, right?
Right. So like I mean, I'll preface my burnout story with like a majority of what I play are AAA games. Like I love playing huge release. I mean, I live for that stuff. Coming from it, also like I can understand, and I've been through like the burnout of that. And I worked on nothing but Saber's wheelhouse was shooters, right? They're good at making shooters, and we were making shooters every single year. Shooter, mature rated shooters, right? So there's not a lot of wiggle room in there when it comes to, you know, let's say creativity or maybe a new art style or something different, right? It's like
People expect X,
execute
Y, Z.
on
Yeah.
what you know, do what you do well, and do it every year. There's always going to be a publisher looking for a shooter. And so I was creatively burnt out. I was tired of traveling. I spent 9 years, almost 10 years of my life, like traveling back and forth to Russia like every month. Like it was great. I loved it. Like it was fantastic for a while, but like I couldn't do it anymore. Like I was like killing myself going over there to develop titles I wasn't super passionate about. And like Locke said, dude, oh my God,
It's okay.
oh God.
It's happened plenty of times.
Pull this cover.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh
pulled
my
the
God.
curtain back.
Yeah.
No, it's happened plenty of times. It's all good.
So I'm like, why am I killing myself to make these games I'm not passionate about? Like what? Like I hate making games, and like to be someone lucky enough to like make games, like you shouldn't feel like you should never feel that way. You're
Yeah.
like, why do I fucking hate making games?
Yeah.
So what I did, I mean, like I built up enough goodwill in the industry. Like I made enough contacts. I knew what I was doing for the most part. I mean, like dude, no one knows exactly what you're doing.
Sure.
But like, I knew how to run production. I knew how to run a studio. And what I didn't know, I was going to learn on the fly or ask people for help.
Yeah.
And with that, I took all the money I had, started the studio in 2013. Took about 2 months to get it up and running. And then January 13th, 2014, had a studio, had 6 people, and we started production on our first title.
Which was called...
So our first title was a game called Night Strike. So it was a twin stick like horde mode game for iOS, Android, and Windows phones.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Played a ton of that.
So
Did you?
Oh yeah.
Don't judge us. That was our first game. That was
No,
our,
I played a ton of it.
that was
Yeah.
our training wheel game. So
Yeah.
we
which I feel like
pretty cool.
which I feel like is a like that whole like hack and slash type thing is
Yeah.
perfect for iOS for mobile gaming, right? Like the idea of being able to just have to like not so many controls, you know, like the controls are more basic than what you would need for like a shooter. Like it was perfect for iOS.
and it's crazy, like coming off of mature rated shooters, blasting people in the head. Like that is the game that I come out with, you know, or my studio comes out with.
Yeah.
You know, coming off that
Like a
transition
total
point.
palate cleanser.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
it looks like it's
so
something
much.
you just have fun with.
So much.
Yeah.
That was our training wheels game. So new team, new studio. We were developing our production pipelines. We were trying to figure each other out, like how to work together as a team, just getting all of our shit in order. We set ourselves a deadline, 3 months. We were going to make and ship a game and make sure that we were, you know, competent. We knew what we were doing, as opposed to spending 2 or 3 years developing like a
This
AAA
took 3
thing.
months to
3 months, 3 platforms.
Wow.
We did it. Yeah, we hit that date.
That seems so
Oh,
fast
so
to me
this is
compared
on the
to what
Mac
we're
App
used to.
Store as well.
No, it's on iOS, Android, and
Oh, okay. I saw the Apple, and then the
Probably
Windows.
means iOS.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's an old website too. I don't know if that's like completely accurate or up to date, but it's got. We spend our time making games, not making websites.
Sure. It's fine.
No. Yeah, so that was like a palate cleanser, man. That was just like cartoony robot knights. You know, there's a little bit of blood and violence, but it's cartoony. Like we're not blasting someone's head off.
Yeah.
Like, you're not doing
Yeah.
that, you know. So that was good. That was something which really helped me kind of get in like the right headspace to keep moving forward and like starting to like get into and enjoy game development again. So
So you got a Tom and Jerry game.
yeah, yes.
How'd you nail the Tom and Jerry IP there?
So we were at PAX South in 2014, or I'm sorry, PAX East in 2014, and we had a title that we were pitching, and we pitched it to Adult Swim. And
Oh my god, it's Katamari Damacy.
there you go. So
go on.
we were pitching it to Adult Swim, and it was skewing a little bit younger than Adult Swim's audience. So under the Turner umbrella is next down is Cartoon Network, which to this day are still like one of our best partners ever, and we continue to work with them on a
Adult
ton.
Swim is making some mad.
They're
great
doing some
games.
crazy stuff,
Yeah, they're
yeah.
doing some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, so we showed our title to Cartoon Network, and they're like, "Whoa, this is awesome! We have some stuff coming up. We want you to pitch on. So here's Tom and Jerry. What do you guys want to do?" And my lead programmer Terry made a cat balloon game. He made up like a prototype. He was just messing around with, and we're like, "Let's send it to them. Let's just see what they think. Let's do like a Katamari. It makes sense, right?
Sure.
Let's do a Katamari.
Katamari.
There you go. It was for the Cartoon Network website. It was going to launch day and date with like Tom and Jerry, like the relaunch of Tom and Jerry with like the new art style and all this for like their Halloween special. So that was the first contract we signed as a studio was with Cartoon Network. It was 6 months after we started from day one. Contract signed, Cartoon Network game out the door. So that was it's
pretty big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good, right? We're
Yeah.
like a little bit different than maybe some other indie
Sure.
studios because like you have, I mean, not to be pompous or toot my horn, like I come from the background where like I kind of know what I'm doing. I can figure out I know biz dev, contract production, things like that. Like I have maybe connections that other smaller studios don't have, so like we're able to kind of maybe punch a little higher than some other studios.
Cool.
Because you're comfortable with that.
And I know,
got the-
like, I can call someone up and I'm like, hey, let's do something. I have free resources. Let's make a game. Like you know, I know people like that.
Yeah, that's a
you
great
know?
position to
So-
be in.
Yeah, and to think about like 6 months, like I can only like starting a company and then 6 months reaching out. It's not like you're reaching out to like like local coffee shop, but you want an app to like order your coffee. Like you're talking to like Cartoon Network or Adult Swim. Like this isn't like some mom and pop shop you're trying to like help out by like developing a game for them. You know, so it's pretty huge.
Yeah, so it was awesome. I mean, we continued to maintain an amazing relationship with them. Some stuff that we've done you've seen, some stuff you haven't. There's maybe some new stuff. Maybe can't say.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe one day soon. Who knows?
Right.
You might see something else. But like, yeah, we do. They're probably our best partner.
Awesome.
They love
Adult
us.
Swim though makes some really violent iOS games.
Yeah,
They make like the
They had this
unicorn one. And
No, they had this one that was like, kill yourself in your office.
I remember
Yeah.
that.
Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you had to like rush
it was
to like
very
find a way to
cartoony,
kill yourself.
but you had to figure out ways to kill yourself with
Yeah.
like equipment in an office.
Yeah.
I think I do remember
It
that.
was so awesome.
Never
Like,
heard of
It
that.
was like a web game. It was
yeah,
like,
one of them was like
on the
you know
browser.
like smash your head in the
find a stapler and like
yeah the stapler,
Yeah.
smash your head with the copy machine. You know, put your head in
Right.
it and just keep going like this. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean that's like to what he was saying. That's more their lane. You know, like your Cartoon Network versus like your Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adult Swim had a pretty big booth when we were.
But
at
did
PAX East
you
last year.
end up, Nick? Did you end up doing anything with Adult Swim, or you just
They're
did
tough.
Cartoon?
They,
Network?
mostly all with Cartoon Network. They're a tough nut to crack. We pitched them like 2 really ridiculous titles, and I'll tell you like, that we thought like would be slam dunks. So I have some connections with some people who are NBA alumni, and Dennis Rodman at one point wanted to make a game.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
It
Dennis
already sounds like something that would absolutely be on the website.
I'm already
Right.
on it.
Right. So Dennis Rodman was interested in like old timey westerns. He loved Blazing Saddles and he loved pinball. And like he's like, how can we mix those two together? Right. So we made a prototype for Adult Swim. We sent them. It's called A Game of Horse, and it was Dennis Rodman in the Old West, where everyone looked like Dennis Rodman. His horse had tattoos and green hair and piercings,
Sweet.
like, and it was a Doom style, like Doom 1.
Yeah.
Pixel FPS, but it was open world because it's like the easiest thing to make open world because there's no art. You can just make the world infinite. Like it's huge. So we made them a prototype and they were like, I don't know if this really fits the Adult Swim brand. And we're like, what? We thought this would be weird enough where like it could be. Like this was like a guarantee.
Sure.
And they're like, come with us. They're like, pitch us another thing with him. So we pitched them a Dentist Rodman, where it was a platformer.
Dude, that should have killed. That should have killed.
It was a platformer where Dennis Rodman was. The levels were like the insides of giant monsters' teeth, and like he was like it was almost like a Metroid kind of thing, but like the levels were like these gross insides of monsters' mouths. Right, he's trying to save the world. They passed on that. But it was weird. They're like, yeah.
Rodman is so
We thought
good.
those 2 titles, like Dennis Rodman alone, was got us some cachet in Adult Swim because it would be like marketing wide, like super weird. I think that was the time he was doing his whole North Korea thing, so maybe like that played against us a little
Sure.
bit. But
Yeah.
Dentist Rodman
Dentist
sounds
Rodman.
awesome.
Yeah. We did a lot of concept art. We did a lot of stuff for those games that they didn't play, but it's all right. There's in our prototype folder, our pitch folder, of like failed pitches. Like there's so many gems in there. There's so
That's
many
awesome.
There's so many good things.
Yeah. So you move from Night Strike to Tom and Jerry. Is that like the natural progression, or is there stuff in between?
Yeah,
that?
actually, in between there at PAX East, we started working on the prototype for Clusterpuck.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, so I guess that's a good segue, right?
Yeah.
Before
Segue.
that,
Yeah.
what's this Iris game?
Iris. Iris is a game we released in 2017.
Okay, so it's new.
2016. I forget.
So
I
dated.
don't remember at this point.
I made a game.
Yeah, I mean,
It happens.
There's a
It's,
game
a whole
there.
bunch of
I've
them.
been
Now,
making
it says
games.
it's available on Android TV and Air console.
yes, yeah.
So there's no other place where you can play these games?
Right now, no.
I know a really good platform for you.
The right now, no. It just put a little asterisk next to it.
All right, cool.
Okay, all right.
Nintendo makes it.
Oh, yeah.
you
I've heard
may
of
have
it.
heard of it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
may have heard of it.
It's called the Switch.
Yeah.
What? No.
Iris is like XCOM Lite. It's
It-
4 players.
I'm looking at it. It looks really cool. It looks
Yeah.
like a cool tactical turn-based game.
Yep, 4-player co-op. It's like a dungeon runner. It's procedurally generated. There's loot. There's bosses. It gets harder. It's set up like Dread or like the Raid,
Right,
where you're going
right.
through the floors of a space station.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
neat.
And the higher floors you go to, the more difficult it gets. And when you die, you wipe. But there's some revives and stuff, and you got to start all the way back down at the bottom again.
I'm a huge fan of this style of game.
Yeah.
I got lost in Mario and Rabbids last year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Has no right to be good, but it is
Mario
good.
Rabbids?
Yeah.
No one.
See,
no one
that's what I'm
expected it to
telling
be.
these guys, and I like dove deep
Okay.
into it.
I need to tell
He,
you.
he,
know what I
makes,
mean?
he makes it sound
Yeah.
like
like we're just
just
some
Switch haters.
fucking yeah.
They're
Okay,
a
well,
bunch of
okay, hold on,
haters.
hold the phone.
my God.
I am very. I
I'm
want
not
No,
a-
it's not fair. It's not fair. Trip is a
Me
Trip
and
is-
Oates went day one
He
to
was
pick
there
up our
to-
Switch.
there to-
Breath of the Wild, Master Mode.
Yep, yep.
I'm not gonna even.
I own a
through
Switch
my
now.
All
stuff to you.
right, so
No,
here's the
no.
thing. I didn't tell you this, but I told them last week when we recorded that I have been the biggest, I guess out of this table and probably in general, the biggest hater
Naysayer?
of the
Naysayer.
Switch.
You're-
Not a hater, but like I just
like man, whatever.
been a
I
naysayer.
just built a PC. I can
why
play all
does
the
it
great
exist?
games. Yeah.
So
All the
I
great
told
games
them
that aren't Nintendo
That
games.
aren't Nintendo.
So I
Thank
told
you.
them that when my power was out,
Yeah.
that I was staying at your place, and I was able to use your Switch, and I utterly fell in love with playing Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play Zelda or really anything else. I only played Odyssey, and not only, but I hated myself for
liking
being
it?
a hater. But it yeah, there's nothing really left to say. I really enjoyed myself playing a Mario game again. That was a good game. That felt like a great game.
Oh, yeah.
And then being able to sit in the living room and play this full-fledged AAA title without it being an iOS port of a Mario Run game,
Sure.
but I'm playing an actual game, and then I could be all right, I'm tired of being in the living room with you people. Let me go upstairs and dock it, and then play on at the point your 70-inch TV was wow, okay, this is pretty great. This is actually pretty awesome that I can do this if I wanted to do it. You know.
To be fair, I go overboard all the time about how much I love my Switch.
Yeah,
I'm a huge PC nerd. Huge PC nerd. I helped Locke build his PC.
He did.
I play PS4, but getting the Switch has been I can take this with. I took it with me on our vacation to this lake house, and we all played Jackbox on it.
Yeah, it's
like
great.
me and 10 of my friends, and I'm this thing has so much potential to do so much.
I mean, I'm glad that Nintendo has created a console that is part of the conversation again, and not just a thing that exists
the Wii
in the
U,
space.
I
but,
couldn't give two shits about, and I complained about the controller earlier. I can't even touch it.
But until you actively wanted to be a part of the conversation, so you invested in it. And I know Nick, of course, will buy all of the consoles because he's part of the industry. But myself,
Research.
yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Yeah.
Tax exempt.
Myself, I was I don't need this. But then I got a chance to try it, and I was like,
You're
oh
there
wow,
it
I
is.
kind of need this.
There's something to be said. On my flight to and from GDC just last week, playing Bayonetta 2 on an airplane.
I want to play that.
It's so
on
good.
my
And
list.
it's not Bayonetta 2 light. It's
Right,
Bayonetta
Bayonetta
2.
2.
They're
Yeah.
the first ones that gave you the actual full experience in your hand.
And it was more than that too, though. It didn't feel like I was playing on a portable. I didn't feel like I was playing on an iPhone or on an Android device or a Windows phone. And the controllers made sense, and everything just felt natural and real. It didn't feel like it was a second rate version of what it should be.
Right.
It was oh wow, okay, yeah, I am on the desert map of Mario, and I am doing everything that I just did up there with the controller, but I'm just doing it a little bit differently.
No
and
difference.
I think it's crazy. It really is.
4 words, Nick: guns, gore, and cannoli.
I've seen that game on all of I saw it on Xbox and PlayStation, but I haven't picked it up yet.
I bought it on my Switch.
Yeah.
I love it. And when you do 4,
I love it.
when you do 4 people at once, it's insanely chaotic.
Okay.
But it's like playing Contra.
Oh, I'm into that.
Yeah, it's it's just like that, except you can have up to 4 people, and you're all these mildly, offensive to Italians.
Stereotypical.
Stereotypical.
I'm an Italiano.
Yeah.
I'm okay though.
But it's real gory, and it's bloody, and it's just mafia guys killing zombies.
right.
It's awesome. I love it.
No,
All
there's
right.
so many good. That just kind of that's what the Switch is now. There's so many good indie games. Nintendo's really they've changed their stance on it from the Wii U to the Switch, and kind of opening up the gates for a
with
lot
the
of us to
third-party
kind of get
support,
on
yeah.
there. And I guess that kind of leads us into
Go ahead. Yeah.
why I'm here. But
How is your experience? Because you're about to launch your game on the Switch.
yeah, so Clusterpuck comes out on the 29th, March 29th on Nintendo Switch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Which is,
so
Will that be
this week.
episode drop date?
So
Thursday.
Monday, Tuesday.
it should be out now.
So it'll be
From what I've
by the
heard
time
before
you-
the recording, it should be out now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can
Great,
currently
yes.
find it.
Yeah.
Excellently put.
Clusterpuck.
Nick.
Yeah.
eShop.
So tell us a
Currently
little
listening.
bit.
Go
I mean,
buy it.
I've personally played it. because you've released this game on
Xbox One and Steam.
It's on Steam and
Android
Xbox.
TV and Air
Right.
Console.
So it's a game that has been out previously. So I have a lot of exposure to it because I've definitely played around with the game itself. So you're now releasing it on Switch, which is exciting because I think it's one of the best platforms that it can be on. So tell us a little bit about like the game and what it's been like working with Nintendo and all of that.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
So Clusterpuck, if you didn't know, is a local multiplayer mashup of hockey, soccer, and pinball.
It reminds me of like air hockey.
Yeah,
a little bit.
absolutely.
Or like knock hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's arcade sports action. Like if you get hockey, you're going to get this game. It's like hockey boiled down to its basic elements. It's 2 buttons. The game is 2 buttons. And it's our love letter to local multiplayer and old school games that we grew up playing. As a studio, we all grew up playing N64, and we spent nights on the couch playing GoldenEye and Smash and everything. Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey, which is like my favorite game ever. Like those games, like talking shit, punching each other, like having a party, not like playing online. And I know it's kind of different now, right? Like I don't like playing online being screamed at by racist 15-year-olds. I want to
no one
sit
does.
in my living room with my friends and play a game and have a good time and
Scream
have
at
a party.
them, racist
Right?
stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
of course.
No, scream at them.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was our love letter to that. This is us trying to. I mean, there are some local multiplayer games out there. Now it's bigger than it was before. We first launched the game on Steam in 2015 when there weren't that many. We were kind of on the beginning of that wave.
Were you in Greenlight? Were you Steam?
Yeah, we were on Greenlit. We got
Greenlit?
Greenlit. We were at that point in Steam where it
Nice.
wasn't like a total dumpster
Shit show,
fire.
yeah.
Yeah.
They shut that down.
Yeah.
Dumpster
So,
fire it was.
We got greenlit on Steam in 2015. We released on Xbox One in 2016. We hit Air Console and Android TV in 2017. And then here we are in 2018 with the Switch. And as Locke said, like, it's the perfect console. It supports 8 Joy-Cons at once. Like, it's a party system.
I was going to ask you
like,
about that.
for it, yeah.
Xbox, do they support more than 4 controllers?
8.
They support 8 controllers on Xbox?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know
You
that.
can
This,
sync.
this ad here, they grabbed 4 and they grabbed 4 more.
Gotcha,
There you go.
Gotcha.
So the
Sorry,
only
I
reason
was half paying attention. We're playing the trailer.
I see,
here.
yeah. That's the whole trailers are a whole nother story.
Yeah.
The handmade weirdness of all of our
Tell me
trailers.
about
It was
the
very
helmets.
it was very Sports Center.
Yeah. So
Is that where you guys got it from? Sports Center?
we
The design for the trailer?
no, not really. We got it from having no money to spend on trailers.
Yeah. But
You made these cardboard helmets.
have you
I
ever
see.
seen the Sports Center commercials where they're just in the office doing
Well, yeah,
weird things?
like the old school ones.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Reminds me of that.
Yeah, very early on when we didn't have money to spend on trailer stuff, like we were like, okay, how do we do these
be weird.
trailers, right?
Yeah.
There's
So
this-
looking,
the one I was watching, like there's a point where somebody's just hand holding a camera, shooting people down on like the street in Philly.
yeah. So we,
That is
Where
Philly,
was
isn't
that?
it?
Where was that in Philly?
it's outside our office.
Yeah, like where's your office?
We're at 16th and Vine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Got
we're
it.
in Center City. So yeah, we didn't have money for like
So weird.
fully done trailers. So our first trailer was done like on the cheap. We're like, how can we do like a really funny kind of thing? And looking back at the N64 commercial for Smash, like it was people in costumes skipping around, like it was completely
Oh, it was.
ridiculous, right? And they're
Yeah.
punching each other,
Me,
beating
you,
each other. Yeah,
you, me.
there you go.
Yeah, I remember that
So
commercial.
our first trailer we made with like a $0 budget. We put it together, and like that was it. And then as the game grew and we grew as a studio, we're like, shit, we can't really change the aesthetic, can we? So we just kept rolling with it.
Yeah.
And like each trailer, like even the Switch, if you look at the Switch launch trailers, like they still have, there's like a higher production value, but it's still like a trailer we maybe
Just
didn't spend
barely
like
slightly,
$10 on. Like, you know, it's just mostly our time and editing and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, we wanted to create just like ridiculous, handmade, memorable trailers. Like the whole game has this element of contrast to it. Like our box art is reminiscent of like our SNES box art, where like what you see on the cover has nothing to do with the
Like
in-game
the old
graphics.
Mega
are.
Man,
Or like
the old
Phalanx.
Superman art?
Phalanx
Yeah.
is the guy
Oh,
playing the
it's perfect.
banjo, and
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
this is a space shooter? What does this old hick with a banjo have to do with anything? You know? So we have like crazy box art, which you can see right there. It's just like
Yeah.
dudes kicking in the laser world with like raptors and skull balls, and like you load up the game and it's super minimalistic. And then you look at the trailers and it's like live action handmade. So like there's this whole notion of contrast across the entire game of like it just kind of worked out to be that way. And maybe it was us being stupid. Maybe it was half creative. Maybe it was just a reaction of having no money and what can we do at like those early times as a studio. But it all just kind of formed together, and it just is what it is now. And it's kind of taken on a life of its own. It's won awards. It's been around the block. Like it's.
Anyone want to join me for a couch co-op stream?
Absolutely, I'm there.
I'd love to.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll do it next week.
I've played it both by myself against the AI, and then I've also done some co-op with friends as well. And I can say that, like, and you're a perfect example of this, Felix, where you're trying to bring back the local multiplayer through your streaming by bringing people onto your stream and saying, like, let's play this game together. Because,
I've done tons of games.
I mean,
like,
it's definitely
streams
lost. Like
that.
I remember playing like PlayStation 1 games and N64 games, like sleepovers, and playing like Ken Griffey Jr. like Home Run Derby and things like that, like with friends, and it's just lost, right? Like we just do it. Like I'm going to sit at my computer, I'm going to join Discord, and me and Neo are going to play PUBG. Like, and it's still fun, but like there's something lost of like being together and doing it together. And you as well, like you've done it with Kevin Oates as well, playing locally as well.
Oates is
right?
like such a proponent of this, and I'm even like,
I had Oates on.
yeah. I don't do enough to like support that. And like my best friend, but he is like just all the time. He's like, "Yo, let's come over. We did Sea of Thieves together by just bringing our consoles together in the same room."
Do Xbox or like Halo LAN parties. Like in college,
Dude,
we would run LAN cables all over the place, like through windows to like other people's apartments. Like we would shove as many people as we could in one apartment, and like that was like the best time ever. That was so fun.
Nick, do you mind if I throw my fellow hosts under the bus? Not
Please.
one of them have been on a couch co-op stream with me.
To be fair, I work a 9 to 5.
Mr.
He streams in the morning.
Mr.
It's going to happen.
Streams in the
8
morning.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're going to coordinate. But I think we should coordinate
Yeah.
for Clusterpuck. I think we should.
That would be cool. It
I
would
would
be
like
real
to do
cool.
that.
It would be awesome.
Yeah, but there's just something special which I appreciate for you guys going for the couch co-op, because like it just doesn't happen enough anymore. Like games used to be built around like playing with your friends. Like the whole N64 era was built about like grabbing a controller and playing with your friend, like Mario
Huge fan of
Party
that
and
era.
Mario Kart. And
It's probably why
you
I'm
know,
so attached to Switch, because
Probably.
I'm like so
the IP and the idea of it.
Oh yeah, I'm so nostalgic when playing. That's why Odyssey was pretty much my game of the year last year, because I loved 64 so much.
Right.
Are you a fan of Swingers?
The
movie.
I'm
movie
saying the
Swingers?
movie or
Yeah,
just like
you
the
gotta be
lifestyle.
active.
Like-
You have to qualify the question sometimes.
Because I'm seeing Clusterpuck 99 and I'm thinking of
Look, they're great people.
I'm
They just
thinking
wanna
of
get out
Wayne
there.
Gretzky.
This reminds
Yeah,
me.
they're playing NHL '94 in the movie, right?
Yeah, I think they were
It made
playing,
his head bleed.
Yeah, but they were playing 94 or 95.
93. Yeah, okay.
And he said, he says, superfan number 99. I'm going to make Wayne Gretzky's head bleed. And I just see Clusterpuck 99, and I'm thinking of the couch co-op thing going on in that scene in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, is that where the 99 came from?
So '99 came from the year 1999.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when a
Okay.
lot of the really great N64 titles came out. But also, as a sports title, we needed to put a number on the end. We needed to put a year on it.
That's
Sure.
a really good
Yeah.
point.
So
Yeah.
we put the 99 on there.
I'm getting a lot of Fusion Frenzy vibes from this too.
We are massive fans. I don't think anyone
Of
in my
Fusion
studio.
Frenzy?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think anyone in my studio has played the full game. I don't own the full game.
I only played the demo
There you go.
because it was a demo disc on Xbox Original.
It definitely was
Twisted-
a demo disc.
yeah.
Twisted System is the greatest mini game in anything ever.
Is that the one where you're like in a
running up
hamster
the
ball?
You're running up the
Okay.
corkscrew and you're jumping and
And
you're
you have to
ducking.
jump- Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
That is like intense and it's
my
the
God.
best thing ever. I really wish someone would just make that.
Yeah.
Make another
I mean,
Fusion.
it's like we
No, just that mini game.
Just that
I'd
game.
pay $60 just for that mini
Oh
game.
damn!
like we take for granted the not that we take for granted, but it's easier to just say, all right, I'm going to turn on my console. I'm going to pay for this service. We're going to connect as friends online, and we're going to just do it, because majority of the time, like that's the better way to do it. But then we lose the connection with one another of like being in the same room. So we've talked about this with like even us recording. Like it was easier last week to just all join Discord. We're all in front of our computer and we like that, but there is something to be said about sitting in the same room and having a dialogue and having the human connection. It's the same way with the game. Like you'd rather be able to like look at Felix and say that you just crushed him in this game versus doing it over Xbox Live or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, when Snacks the cat and I like go crazy playing Overcooked. Yeah,
Fantastic game. Another great local multiplayer
Overcooked
game.
on the Switch. Like I can totally see like the experience playing Clusterpuck like aligning with how I am with like we're both going back and forth. Like he's like yelling at me, but I mean that's more co-op where you're trying to like put meals out.
Yeah.
So he's yelling at me to like do better.
Yeah.
But I could still see us also like screaming at each other
I have to tell you,
in competition.
Overcooked makes me infinitely more angry than playing PUBG and losing.
Does it really?
So, like we could be in a PUBG match for 30 minutes and lose at like the last second. I'd be like, all right, let's go again. But
Here we go.
Overcooked, I'm like, you motherfucker, you put that fucking lettuce in the burger, or I'm going to come over there and slap that controller out of your hand. It makes me so mad. I can't even play with it anymore.
And you've played Overcooked like locally too. Like
No,
you've
all-
only
I
done
think
it.
it's
Is it
all
only
of-
locally?
I think
But
so.
what I meant to say was you've done it with your family too. Like you played it.
Yeah. So I bought my Switch like as an impulse purchase, like right before Christmas, like 3 days before Christmas. I was out buying gifts for my family, and I went, "Okay, I'm gonna get out more money
It's
and just
Christmas for Felix
buy
too.
a Switch." Yeah. No, I literally, I said, "What's the line from Parks and Rec?
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself."
Yeah.
So I was just like, I said that to my girlfriend, and she knew the reference. And I looked over at the GameStop, and I went over and I said, "Okay."
She knew what you
okay.
meant.
And she was happy. She was like, we were excited about buying this. But yeah, then I took it to my family's, and I have a Pro controller and the specialty plug-in Link controller, and then 2 Joy-Cons. So we have 4 total. And we did me and my family, like me and my 2 sisters and my 1 sister's boyfriend played a 4-person Overcooked, and it was nuts. It was like so
I
much
can
fun.
only imagine. Yeah.
This is the magic of the Switch, y'all.
But I think about
the
like
magic.
our own time, like with you bringing home the VR kit and like
Over Christmas, like
Over
I
Christmas
brought the
and, like-
Oculus home like 2 years ago.
yeah,
or
you brought the
whatever.
Oculus home and like I got to experience VR for like the very first time. And
Yeah, you
like,
did that bullet gun.
My dad was
game
playing
or
Bullet
whatever?
Train.
Yeah, like your
Bullet
dad
Train.
played
you're-
Bullet Train.
He talked about this on the show.
Dude,
like a
Bullet
year ago.
Train, like, if I could just live, like, in a
That.
world that wasn't my own, like, it would probably be Bullet Train. And, like, it's like a 3-second thing. Like, the game's over before you know it, but, like, it felt, but, like, the idea of, like, okay, like, his aunt put the VR headset on and is doing, like, this, like, health demo of, like, going through the human body. And, like, but there's something to be said about, like, everyone experiencing it together, but like truly together, not like through the internet.
Right.
And it's the same way. Like you post on online forums and you talk through chats, which is completely different than having like a face-to-face conversation. But we've become like desensitized almost to the fact that like, oh, I can just call Felix and he can come over and we can like do it together versus like, Felix, just turn on your PlayStation 4 and like we'll play this game together. You know?
It's easier, right? I get it's a modern convenience. It's just like the age that we live in with like phones and everything.
Yeah.
I sound like an old man saying that.
No, but it's true.
But yeah, I know. But that, like we've learned a lot of things with this title, especially like with all the events we've taken it to, and like with the Switch version.
This probably kills at events.
Yeah, so like we have crowds just like at PAX. Like we were at PAX South recently, and we'll be at PAX East in the Indie Mega booth in a month or something, in April or something.
Awesome.
But which is weird because why are we in the Indie Mega booth? Like this game has been around the block, but whatever, we'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it,
man.
But like at PAX South, like we have people like spilling out into like the hallways, just like there's crowds around our booth at all times, and it's people screaming at each other and talking smack and like talking shit, and like we're learning like a lot of our marketing has evolved over the years because again, like it's a lot of word of mouth. Like this guy bought this game, bought people over to his house, they play it. They're like, oh crap, we need to buy it. So it's like it's weird. Like even send reviews out to reviewers, like at sites, they're like, please, like it's best played with 4 people. Like if you're going to review this game, please review it with this many people. Like
Right.
Like our publishing partner who helped us get the Switch version out, CodeSync. They're out of the UK. We put together a whole review guide, and there's a lot of that stuff in it. It's like if you don't understand this type of game, like here are some steps to help you understand it. Here are some things that'll help you maybe review it better, or get it to your friends, or just tell them
Context
about it.
is totally
exactly
key.
Right. And
You got to take things in all types of media.
Yeah.
You have to take in the right context.
but like we've learned like over the production cycle and marketing cycle of this game is like how we properly like the pitfalls of local multiplayer, right? But also the really great like highs of local multiplayer and like how you get people to recognize it and know about it. And like luckily we've been able to learn, and it's gotten better and better and bigger and bigger. And here we are with the Switch, which is going to be like our biggest release. And I kind of want to say like the end of the product cycle for this version of the game.
Sure.
Not to say that like there won't be a next version, but we kind of look at it, like a lot of developers and a lot of developers who have a game like this. Like we won awards. We were in the IndieCade Esports Showcase. Like we've been around the block. We've been recognized. Like this game has gotten us additional work because people know we can build really great local multiplayer games or multiplayer games in general.
Oh, yeah.
But we look at this kind of like our, super acrobatic, rocket-powered car game,
which
right?
became Rocket League.
It's V1, right? Like we know what we did.
Yeah, what
right?
was the
We
name
know
of
what
that?
we
it was
did.
like real long.
It was something like that. Yeah,
It was
super
no, it was
power nuclear.
rocket powered.
acrobatic. No, it was.
It was like 9
Look it up.
words.
Google it.
And then it was like, wow,
huge.
Rocket League was a free PSN game that became like a whole thing
Right.
in itself.
Right.
Yeah.
So like we're looking at kind of the next version of the game of like what can we do better? What do
Sure.
people like?
It
What
was
do they hate?
supersonic, acrobatic, rocket-powered battle cars.
Battle cars. There you go. I
Which
got close.
yeah,
I got
which
close.
was like, wait, and then they made this?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And then
crazy.
it's Rocket League.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
So it's like us. I mean, like we've already started compiling ideas for the future and like what
Yeah.
we want to do. Like our
It's amazing.
publisher is, we're trying to figure things out. Like hopefully Switch is killer. Hopefully it does really well. Like it's from what everyone has told us. Like this is the perfect game for Switch. This is the party game. This
I'll
is
tell
the
you
game
right
where
now,
get
I'm already on board.
No,
Awesome.
I didn't even realize going into this, like, I hadn't had a conversation with Locke at all about the game or anything like that. But up until this point, I didn't realize that my stream is kind of perfect for this. Like, doing those couch co-ops that I do all the time, like, I didn't realize I was walking into a situation where I have another game to, like, add to the list.
Yeah.
Because it's just a weird coincidence. I started doing couch co-ops last year, and then I bought a Switch to do more couch co-ops, and now we're doing this, and that's just, it's perfect. It's
It's
kismet.
a perfect system for it.
Yeah.
The Switch version, you guys have. I saw on the trailer you had creation tools. Is that on all the versions, or is that Switch only?
Yeah. So every version has the level creator.
Cool.
The difference between the versions are the exclusive maps. So Xbox has a couple exclusive maps. They have the Duke. They have.
I saw the Duke
They have
one
the
too,
Big X.
pictures here.
They have Clippy.
Fuck yeah, the Duke.
Clippy.
They have Clippy. Remember Clippy?
Why is it called the Duke?
Yeah, from Microsoft
Wait,
Word.
Yeah.
Why is it
Oh,
called
yeah,
the Duke?
yeah.
Big as shit, dude.
It's the big controller. It's the big Xbox controller.
Oh, got it. I didn't know that's the nickname of that
yeah.
controller.
Yeah. And we also had flying toasters, which, if you remember the old screensaver,
Oh yeah.
we did a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of like
baby.
Microsoft, like Xbox centric like levels.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, the level is a piece of toast with flying toasters in the
So
background.
what could
Like-
people look forward to on the Switch?
So the Switch was weird. We had
Let's be real. I'm
Yeah.
gonna get that version.
I mean, if you're gonna get it for
we had
anything,
a
yeah.
we had a couple crazy ideas, but
That's
we
the
aren't.
version I'm getting.
What? Go ahead.
We weren't allowed to use Nintendo IP, so we weren't allowed to. Microsoft is way more lax with that stuff than Nintendo. So like our ideas for like Mario face or like a Switch map or like Luigi's mustache or whatever it was, like we got killed. We weren't allowed to do that.
They seem very protective of their IP.
So we have we kind of skated around it a little bit. So we have one map which is a map called Al Dente, and it is a Italian map
Oh,
with a little pasta and some meatballs.
Okay.
We couldn't do Mario, so we did the next
Sure,
best thing. Then we did a map which is reminiscent of the flag of Kyoto, which is where Nintendo's headquarters is. And then we did one other map, which actually was a special map. We like a lot of people have like emailed us with cool map designs or fan art or all these kinds of things over the years. And there's one guy named Brian Dahlberg who created a map he called Puccaneer, and we built it for him and we put it in the game. So Brian's like custom map that he created actually made it into the game as a Switch exclusive. Yeah, so I mean those are the maps for Switch, and on top of that, we just had to do a lot of just kind of changes to user interface and stuff because what we had working in Steam and Xbox for big screens didn't necessarily work sometimes in handheld mode.
Sure.
We need to come up with a new UI design that matches both handheld and then docked mode and
yeah. Tell me about it. How easy is it to like make a game that transitions between a small screen then putting it on the big screen? Is there something different that's involved with that?
It's a lot of testing. It's seeing what works and what doesn't. Because like the difference is, right, it's a big screen versus a small screen. So
and you have to tell the game to either go, okay, we want you in 1080p now with the TV, and then 720p on the screen. Like you have to, the game has to recognize that. Yeah?
Right. So that's all stuff that's kind of built into the Switch hardware and the API stuff. But there are certain triggers you can do to kind of switch things on the fly. But we felt it would be better if the experience was consistent across the two. So like when you pop it off the dock, the UI looks exactly the same. You pop it back on the dock, it looks exactly the same. So we didn't want to do anything outside of a resolution change or whatever it happens to be when you dock and undock. So we made the UI bigger. It's easier to read. The font's not as thin. Stuff like that, which just really helps with visibility on the small screen. So
is it touch compatible, or you just specifically go use the controllers?
You want to use the controllers. I think we had touch maybe on the main menu, but then we dumped it because it was like why? We have HD Rumble. We have all the stuff that you need to be on a Switch.
It plays just as good with the Joy-Cons as it does with the controllers.
So we support Pro controllers, and we support like the dog face controller and Joy-Cons.
Cool.
The one thing is if you're playing party mode and you want 8 players in, it's going to be 8 Joy-Cons. So you can't actually support 8 Pro controllers on one Switch. It's 8 Joy-Cons.
Is that a limitation? For
it's just the way it's a hardware thing. It's the way Nintendo numbers the Joy-Cons. So you have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like when they're together, they count as 1. When they're separate, they all count as 1. Mm-hmm. So it's weird math, and like that was the thing that tripped us up the most. Like,
so let me ask you. I have my controller situation is a Pro controller, 2 Joy-Cons.
Yep.
Can I play with 3 people like that?
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to play party mode with 8, I think it's 4 or more people or 6 or more people, you need to be all Joy-Con.
Yeah,
all single Joy-Cons turned on their side. Yeah.
I think
it's just the hardware works.
It's awesome
that
you can have up to 8 people on a console like that. Like
that's pretty incredible. Yeah.
Tell like 12-year-old me that, he blows freaking mind out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like wait, I could have that many more friends over?
What?
Yeah, let's do it.
It's like you had 2 N64s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Man.
So you mentioned earlier, is it solely digital release, or can I go pick up a physical copy if I was inclined to do so?
So right now it's eShop.
Okay.
And
you're featured currently on the Coming Soon page.
Yes, we are. We're currently in the Coming Soon page, and we're also running kind of a cool contest. I guess I'll tell people about that afterwards.
Yeah, please do.
But yes, eShop on the 29th, and we are talking to people potentially to maybe get a physical release.
Awesome.
So that'd be like a dream. It's like my first game I've ever released on a Nintendo console. Like I kind of want to go all out.
It'd be awesome to have that box,
dude. I would go crazy. I'll print my own box just so I have it. Like, but no, like everyone says retail's dead, but like, dude, I will get a box version of any game, and I will fight for my games to be box versions because there's like a legitimacy to it. Like as much as I like maybe don't care for GameStop and their business practices and being a developer and how they treat us, and the money we don't get from their sales.
That's next episode.
Right. I want to see my game on their shelf.
Yeah, of course you do.
Sure. Like, that makes you like
because it's
legit.
We've talked about that. It's like it's a tangible thing. You're like, wow, no, I've like it's operated in this space, like this digital space, but like, I'm holding it.
Yeah,
like,
it's amazing.
Real.
Like when I took him like a copy of like Fear, Final Fantasy 12, like I have the Steelbook. I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like I can open up the manual and like my name's right there. Like,
right.
It's just like, it's dumb as it is. It's like seeing your name in the credits. Like it's like,
it's amazing.
It's cool. It's just a little like token that you
holding things is always going to be.
I am in the credits of Ukulele. Just want everyone to know that.
Oh no, did you back it?
I did.
Awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'm in the credits for the Paul Simon Gershwin Prize that he won. I took a screenshot of that bitch.
You what?
So I worked.
We need at least one.
It's
part
not
of this
gaming.
episode
It's
being related to a Felix.
It's like the seventh.
No. It's not game. We're talking about credits.
No. I want you to expand.
We
don't know what that is.
No, the Paul Simon Gershwin Prize is very similar to the Mark Twain Prize. That's given out for comedy.
Oh, okay.
Right.
No,
But
none of
I
us
mean,
know.
we've never heard. I've
So
never
not
heard
Paul
of it.
Simon the musician.
Yes, Paul Simon the musician.
What does he have to do with comedy?
He doesn't. The Gershwin Prize is for music.
Okay.
You're in the
It's-
credits of a prize?
So the Paul Simon Gershwin,
The
Gershwin
This is when we all ask questions because we just simply don't understand what he's talking
The
about.
Gershwin Prize is a prize that's given out or was given out. I don't know if it still is for recording and influencing the music industry for more than 3 or 4 decades.
Wow.
And that's what Paul Simon got. And no, other artists get it other years. He got it 1 year.
Gotcha.
And there was I worked the show at the Warner Theater.
Right.
And I ended up getting a credit for it.
Yeah.
I thought the award name was the Paul Simon Gershwin. I was just like, outside of Chevy Chase in that
No,
one
no,
video,
it's called the
Paul Simon
Gershwin
has
Prize
nothing to
for
do with
music.
comedy. Like,
So I got it up here. It's the Library of Congress Gershwin Prize for Popular Song.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yep.
It's given to a composer or performer for their lifetime contributions to popular music.
Yep.
I mean,
it's
'cause-
got to be a certain amount of decades.
I
though.
mean, it might provide some context. You want to talk about like for Nick specifically, like your experience as like Nickelodeon.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. No, I mean I don't have
know.
to go into my whole history, but I used to do live productions of TV shows. So like I worked down in Washington multiple times for comedy shows, and I worked down in Washington for the Mark Twain Prize and the Gershwin Prize.
Didn't like Jennifer Garner kick you in the nuts?
And Jennifer Garner kicked me in the nuts.
Incredible.
That was working on Nickelodeon.
That's
I worked on a now defunct interstitial programming show called Nick You Pick Live. It was about
I think I remember that.
around
Yeah,
the time when you said you were getting started around 2004. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I was getting started in that industry around 2004. So I was up in New York and I was working for Nickelodeon and MTV.
Oh, nice.
And I worked at on Nick You Pick Live, and it was so weird because it was almost like dinner in a movie for like cartoons.
Yeah.
So like, and I had to like manage the studio audience. But they would bring in like weird, at the time Jennifer Garner was doing Alias, and they brought her in to like be a guest. They brought all kinds of people through there, but I mostly met Nickelodeon celebrities.
I love this.
That Amanda,
It's my favorite.
that Amanda
so
Bynes
good.
chick. I
Yeah.
met her when she
The
was
Amanda
young.
Bynes
That-
chick.
pretty-
I
you
met
know her.
I met her when she was a young kid. She,
Pretty crazy.
She gave me a sandwich. She did. She did.
It's just fun.
I don't want to take thunder away from Nick though.
No, I mean, you're
that's
fine.
awesome.
You're
That's
fine.
great.
You're good.
But
It's like a 5-minute spotlight.
yeah,
with you.
but I got kicked. I
Just bottled up. You
I
gotta
got
talk
kicked in the
about
stomach
something.
by Jennifer Garner. I was wearing an abominable snowman costume.
Tell the
I was
story.
gonna say,
How
did
the
you, like,
fuck
I
did you
worked
get
prompted
into
that?
at Nick You Pick Live. I
Finished a
was
sandwich from Amanda, and then was like, I gotta do something else.
Nick You Pick Live. I was working in the prop room this day. It would rotate. They would shift me. One day I would have to work the kids. There's like a live studio audience.
Can you context work the kids? 'Cause that
manage
sounds a little weird.
manage the kids between being in the live studio audience and taking them to the bathroom. You got to
Literally
chaperone
working
them.
the kids.
Chaperone
Right,
them.
okay.
You
Got
got
it.
to chaperone.
Got it.
It
Thank
somehow got worse.
Sometimes I would have to work craft
I think
services.
it could get worse.
Hey, sometimes I had to work craft services. I had to put out all the candy for the kids.
Hey, you ate the candy, is what you meant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. One for me, one for the kiddies. One for me, one for the kiddies. Yeah. But I would do that. But this one day I was working props,
Yeah.
and they came to me early on and they said, we got a bit we're doing, right? And the girl who was going to play in the bit got sick and she never came in to work.
Right.
So the bit is Jennifer Garner is going to, because she's on Alias and she kicks butt, she's going to have to fight the main superhero character on the show, or this cow that's on the show. Regular characters.
Was
The
a cow on the show?
Yeah, like a cow was like a cast member, like the danced and shit. Yeah, it was weird.
I never watched Alias.
It's no, not Alias. The Nick You Pick Live
Crossover.
show.
Crossover.
How did the cow fit into
So there was
the show?
there was a superhero character. There
No,
was
it's
a
fine.
cow
We're good.
character. There were
We're good.
characters on the
You've
show.
cleared it up for
but
me.
they wrote for
hacker
that day. They wrote a third character,
Correct.
which was the Abominable Snowman, because they happened to have an Abominable Snowman costume.
Right.
But they didn't think any of the kids were going to pick the Abominable
Just
Snowman.
why the fuck would they?
So 2 minutes before this bit was supposed to be done, some guy barges into the prop room. He goes, dude, you're not going to believe this. You got to go on. And I went, because they wanted me to jump into the Abominable Snowman in case. But he goes, I can't believe how much these kids want to kill Jennifer Garner. They really want violence.
Can I ask a question?
What?
The
Just
hunger for
before
it.
we wrap up with this story.
Yeah.
I never asked this question. Who was playing in the cow and in the other one?
Well, the superhero is just a guy, an actor.
Sure, but who was playing in the cow?
Some other person.
But they couldn't fit in the snowman
But
suit?
they're in the same. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
why
good
didn't they be
question.
like,
It's a good
yo,
point.
dude, instead of hopping in the cow, just be this dude?
Yeah, I don't know.
They just looked at you and you were like, "You're a
Maybe
better-"
the cow was already out there. Like the cow would have to stand there in like a
So
panel
you
or something.
all three had to be on set at the
Because
same
Yeah.
it was like, who's going to get chosen?
Right,
Yeah,
who's
that
gonna
makes
get
sense.
chosen.
Okay, got it.
But anyway, yeah, the kids picked the abominable snowman, and then I went out. I got footage of this,
I know I've seen it. Yeah.
and I went out and I did like a Rocky thing.
I'm currently looking
where I
for it.
warmed up. And you want to find it?
He has it.
I'm looking for it.
I don't think you're going to find it. You're going to find it on.
I don't think you're going to find it, but you're going to find it here.
No, I think it's on my YouTube channel. Don't quote me on that. But anyway,
Did you have a pad in your chest?
no,
Just kidding.
it wasn't like a heavy kick or anything like that. But the funniest thing was is I'm getting ready to go on, and I'm real nervous. This is my first time on national TV.
Yeah, in a fucking suit. No one knows.
Right,
Right.
no one- but still, you get
Yeah,
nervous.
you're there.
And I
You're
turned to this guy who is who's like the stage manager, and I go, "What am I doing? What am I supposed to do?" And he goes, "You're an actor, right? React." That's what he said to me. I'll never forget it.
Classic like producer.
And I went out, and the guy
do what you do.
She kicked me in the stomach, and there was like, I swear to God, every time I watch it, it looks like it's like a minute-long pause before I fall over, but it's not. It's
I don't think I've ever noticed it.
It's way shorter. Yeah.
That's absolutely.
That's
right.
hilarious.
I don't know if it's really on there. I put it somewhere. I just don't remember where.
We'll find it for you guys out there in podcast
You know what?
land.
It's
We'll pump this
probably
out.
just on Facebook. That's probably where it is.
Well, I'm not going that place.
Oh, you don't believe in the book no more.
Nah.
Yeah. So we can find by the time this episode comes out. I know that we just listened to Felix talk for a little while.
Sorry about that, Nick.
No, I asked the question.
That's a great story.
Yeah. Not too many people could say they were punched in the stomach by
Kicked.
kicked.
It was
Kicked.
kicked in the stomach.
One real quick thing. The worst thing about it was I got in trouble for talking to her afterwards by the MTV people, not by her people or by her. She's walking down the hall. I guess I had shifted to taking the kids to the bathroom, and the kids were doing that.
Were you still
or
in
whatever.
the suit?
No, I was
out of the
just
suit.
normal clothes, right?
Right, yeah.
And I'm just like standing there, but and she's walking by with her entourage, and she walks by, and I said, "Nice sparring with you, Miss Garner." And she goes, "Oh, abominable! Nice sparring with you too," and just kept walking, like all cool. And all these people passed me. I swear it was like one of those things where
That's
it's
a
like
good
every
line.
person
It's
is
like a smooth,
Yeah. Nice
smooth ass
sparring with
line
you.
to throw out there,
right.
At Jennifer
So the
Garner.
last person in this line, this train of like 15 people, was an MTV person, some whoever, and they go, "That's a no-no," and kept walking. And I was like, "What was this about?"
Fuck them. Like
After my job was
exactly.
over, I had to watch these like videos, these internal videos that Nickelodeon has on, or MTV. It was for the whole MTV thing.
The whole
about
Viacom, like,
about how
mobile.
appropriate they're specifically tailored to teach you how to be around A-list celebrities. Yeah. And I had to watch all these like weird videos.
That's like media training stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah,
bad.
that
It's so
kind of crap.
stupid.
Yeah. So anyway,
How about we not be like real people, but we be
Yeah.
the people that
she definitely responded like a human woman to a
That's good that she was a
Well, that's what
human.
happens when someone talks to you is you respond in kind, like, "Hey, I just kicked you in the stomach."
I
Like,
honestly,
that was
to
a
this
good
day,
time. Like,
I honestly to this day do not think she turned to somebody and said, "Tell that dick to stop
No,
being
no,
that
no.
way." No, it was
talking
definitely
to me?
just.
Yeah.
It was definitely
Someone
just
somewhere was
MTV.
like, "Oh, I could do my job.
Yeah.
Let me yell at him."
This is all I do.
like,
I tell people
justify
how
my
to talk.
existence for today.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway,
I got
sorry
this
about
guy
that.
for
Yeah.
like 10
So
hours.
so when this episode releases, will then be Friday, a day after Clusterpuck's release on Nintendo Switch. We can find it on the eStore.
Yes.
That's how we want to purchase it.
It's
right?
eShop.
eShop.
Okay.
Excuse me. All right.
Gotta be specific.
Store,
Yeah.
shop, fucking.
People need to know what to Google,
Yeah. Google eStore, right? if you're just hearing about it now, which may be the first time that you're hearing about it, besides the Switch, we can also find it where exactly?
Steam, Xbox One, Air Console, and Android TV.
Perfect. So you can find it anywhere there if you're looking to purchase a copy as well, which I think we've talked about enough of why you'd want to pick up a version. I love the idea of the couch co-op though.
Yeah, I'm doing a Saturday stream. I can stream it as soon as Saturday, and I could
schedule.
I could probably stream it on Easter Sunday as well, unless I got to go do something with my family.
No, you
That
probably
seems
have
like-
to
it
do
seems like
something
a
with your
thing
family.
where
Yeah,
there's
no,
people,
you're gonna
families
find out
gathering
about that.
together to do something.
Like a day where everyone gets
It
together.
seems- I don't know
Yeah,
why I
it
think
might
that.
be Easter
I
Sunday.
stream a lot. So,
I just-
are you guys cool with me streaming the game?
Of course.
All right, great.
Do
No,
whatever
don't do that. No, it's private. It's a private thing.
No, I'll promote it.
That's why he just
Promote
spent an
the hell
hour
out of it.
talking about himself.
Don't put all over the internet and show how fun it is.
I can't. I can't put it to Twitter. I still can't get into my Twitter.
I think it's going to be okay.
Okay, so here's the thing. For people who can get on Twitter, if you go to our Twitter account, at PHL Collective, there's, I think, pinned to the top of our page, there is a contest going on. So us, our partners, CodeSync, and then a company called Controller Chaos, who do really amazing custom controllers,
Nice.
have created custom Clusterpuck Joy-Cons.
Whoa.
So if you head over to our Twitter
right here?
page, there you go.
Those are awesome.
Head over to our Twitter page. There's a contest. You got to follow the rules.
They're
You
all
can-
like outrun 80s style.
yeah,
I
you
love
can
that.
you can win some custom Joy-Cons and I think
80s
some
style.
T-shirts.
But so when I just gotta follow you guys?
I think you got to follow, retweet, and maybe like tell us how many goals are in the video, something like that. There's a little bit of engagement there. We're not looking for Twitter contest bots to win this.
Yeah.
We need real people to enter. But yeah, follow us on Twitter. You can win some Joy-Cons, but we'll also be doing some T-shirt giveaways and all kinds of junk. And then see us at PAX East in Boston, where you can also get some more junk that we're going to give away
Followed.
and all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah. I mean, we have anyone going to PAX East this year? No.
No.
I mean, we didn't get tickets.
Yeah, I can't
So,
swing it this
we-
year myself.
Yeah.
it's so expensive.
Yeah.
It's so expensive.
These guys, I
went
don't think
last year.
I don't think I told you. These guys went to E3. What year?
2016.
Yeah.
When it was
2016.
still
Yeah.
not a public thing.
Nice.
Yeah, they were like one of the first ones to win because you had won tickets.
I won one ticket through Loot Crate,
Okay.
and we totally thought it was a scam. Like, this person contacted us and said, "You won this E3. You won E3 tickets," and we were like, "Nah, this can't even be real." We were like vetting her email to make sure this girl was like legitimately Loot Gaming and like all this stuff, and turns out it was real. And then like she just went out of her way to offer my girlfriend a ticket, and she didn't want to go. She didn't care. She's not a gamer. So I basically was like, how about we just give that ticket to somebody else from the show?
Yeah.
So
And they were like, cool.
this guy went.
No,
Yeah,
it's
they didn't care.
fantastic.
They
It's
didn't
so
care.
fun.
It was a lot of fun.
So fun.
It was such a mind fuck of an experience. You don't expect the scale. Like when we were there, they were pushing Mafia 3. They had a whole like Bourbon Street like
Yeah, they had a Zydeco band.
like
that was
street
also
corner setup. It was
Dishonored
crazy.
2 at that
Dishonored
point
2
too.
was that they had a whole like museum set up.
Callback. Whale. We got some whale oil.
Yeah, there it is.
Whale
Yeah,
oil.
Connecting the dots there.
Whale oil
Sea of Thieves
punk, my
had
friends.
their first demo there. You did the
Right.
ship battles.
Right.
Battlefield 1 was there. Breath of the Wild. They had their entire exhibit there.
Right.
Yeah, that's
was
that,
The Zelda
that was
power-
pre-Switch announcement.
Nintendo
That's
whole
crazy.
footprint.
It's crazy
their
to
whole
think about that
footprint
now.
was just their like museum that you walk through and you experience like what a shrine would be. You would sit in there and walk through a shrine
Yeah.
and you went out to play.
that's what kindled my
cool.
burning flame. That is Breath of the Wild.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
Your burning flame.
I have a question for you though, Nick. Before we drown out with random conversation, we talked a little bit
Right at that
about
point.
a few episodes ago. We talked about Microsoft and their E3 presence this year. Right? We talked about like their E3 presence being essentially like an indie developer
It looked pretty
presence,
small.
right?
Yeah.
Do you have anything to share or your own opinions as a gamer itself about Microsoft's lack of first party content and like how you view it as a developer and also as a fan of gaming?
Yeah, so I guess the first thing, before I get into, I guess, the first party stuff, I'll say that the ID at Xbox program is, like,
Yeah.
incredible. Like, Chris Charla and the group over there, like, do an amazing job, like, getting games out and, like, getting good games out and featuring games. They, I think, for the most part, are, like, single-handedly, like, driving, like, what's going on the Xbox store. And, like, just
Right.
all the digital games that they're releasing, like, are incredible. Like, they're awesome. Like, they really opened up a lot of doors for a lot of developers. They made things easy because the Xbox One is your developer kit. Like, there's so much stuff that they built in
Right.
to that unit to, like, just really make things easy for people, for developers. First party wise, I think now Microsoft is realizing the error in their ways.
Sure.
And now they are spending to try to fix those errors, like canceling Scalebound and like Crackdown being delayed like 2,000 billion times.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
And then they had that Halo TV series plan. They had
Hell yeah,
they had a whole bunch of
Nightfall
things in the.
Dude,
Yeah,
we
Fall
already
of
had
Reach,
like
yeah.
one.
Something
Yeah,
like
we
that.
had an episode of something. I don't.
Yeah,
Quantum Theater was Quantum Break.
Quantum Break
like,
was.
that,
Yeah.
it didn't make the big splash that
I
they
liked
expected.
it.
I liked
I'm a
it
huge
too.
fan of
I
Remedy.
haven't played
Like
it.
I love what they do. Like I think it was really good. It could have
Yeah.
been better, but like
Sure.
they kind of failed on as more of a directive for Xbox, like
Yeah.
the entertainment platform thing. So like
Sure.
what Quantum Break was trying to do, like tried to align with I think some of their goals, and that didn't follow through. Like Xbox, they shuttered their whole entertainment studio. So like first party's been going through like a weird thing over the past couple of
It is,
years,
really.
and like now Sea of Thieves, right? Like I was in one of the first technical alphas, and I hated it. I couldn't stand it.
We were
God,
we were in that.
Trip and I played the first technical alpha, and like I enjoyed being in the ship, and then got bored, and then got on land and was like, what am I actually doing right now?
Right,
Like
yeah.
Right.
when I try and shoot a gun, like it doesn't work. When I try and take my sword out, I'm battling a skeleton.
Fire
like
was so bad. And
oh, at that point, they had just introduced the idea of the blunderbuss.
Yeah.
At that point, right? So you mentioned, so you play the technical alpha for like Rare. Like I'm a huge fan of Rare.
You're
playing
expecting
on
it to be
64,
like,
right?
Yeah, like funny and fun and like full of character and like lively. But then you get in there, like it looks beautiful, but what am I doing? It's an empty sandbox, right? So like
they didn't even have people like pretending to man like the bars or the shops
Nothing,
or whatever
right.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I stopped after that. I'm like, I'm not interested. I'm gonna wait till it comes out and hopefully it'll be better. And like a lot of people from the office have purchased it, and what I'm hearing from them, and I guess what I'm hearing from the whole internet is like
Nothing's really changed.
nothing's changed.
so-
It's like maybe
it's
they
so
added like a couple
polarizing.
things, but
Yeah.
like there's you have Xbox diehards, which are like, this is amazing. Like I fought a
And
Kraken.
Rare's
I've
like
seen
come out and
battles.
said that like, oh, we want this to be a game people keep coming back to, and they'll see the new things that we've added. So it sounds like they've released a platform for something
Yeah,
that's
well-
supposed to be pretty awesome.
That's a whole nother issue with like games as a service. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want that. I want a game to
game.
come out and work
Yeah.
and have content, and then if DLC comes out, sure. If I like it, I'll buy it. Like I don't want games as a service, right? If I pay $60 for Sea of Thieves, I want to join with my friends. I want to blast some ships. I want to fight some fucking cool skeletons.
I want
wanna
fun
do
activities,
something,
yeah.
right. I know the sandbox looks great. I know it can be filled with content, but until that content's there, that's not a game I'm going to pay for. I won't even pay
Well-
$15 on Game Pass for that. Like.
Games as a service, I think, is okay if it comes out at a price that matches that. But $60 as your starting price.
But see, no one's
There's-
done that yet, though. Like no one's done that
Right.
with the game. Like
I
it's
why
this
would-
idea of games as a service, but like in the early access. But like,
It's like this promise, like
Yeah.
you're going to pay 60, and then I promise you things are going to get
Yeah.
better.
yeah,
And it's like, but like all we've been shown is like things don't really get better. Like Division may be the only thing that's like here.
They turned
take
it around.
Take some free stuff, some free like their 1 point, what was that 1.6, 1.8 update was like the biggest overhaul of the game, or like Destiny 1 had
Rainbow
Dark
Six
Book.
did that.
Rainbow
like,
Six- oh, Rainbow
3.0 or
Six-
something. Like,
right.
It massive, like under the radar, like massive. Like so, I guess I lied. Like that's one game that's delivered on that, right? Like maybe it kind of was like okay in the beginning, but has gotten like exponentially better.
No
over
one's
time.
had a good path. They've always had to course correct to
yeah,
make
there you go.
it
Okay.
playable.
Yeah,
Right, and no one expected, like I played Division like so much when it first came out, because the idea of running around like an actual New York City and being able to play that was like incredible to
geeked on
me,
that,
right?
yeah.
We played it for a lot. Felix and I played it together, and then I put it down because it was a bad game, and now re-got it on PC because now they've changed it completely and like continued through the development cycle. But like, how old is that game at this point, right? So it's
Still
like,
good. I mean, yeah.
so to Nick's point, like if you're going to create a platform and say, okay, this platform is $20, and then we promise you we're going to produce content based off of this platform, versus buy our game and we promise you we're going to do this for you. But
the question I have for Nick, being a developer, is it cost prohibitive for a development studio to say the price point is going to be $20 initially? Like Sea of Thieves coming out $20, is that? Do they feel that they're not going to make enough money, so they're afraid, so they don't lower it?
it's a first party title. Like I don't think they could release. It wouldn't be profitable at that price, even if everyone bought it. Like
Right.
the money they put in marketing wise and the events and
Yeah.
the cost to run.
I mean, that price or $10
Nah.
more at 30, or
The fact that
like
name has
Hellblade
it out means-
with $40,
Well, here,
right?
that's the thing. That's that whole kind of like the indie revolution kind of thing, or like the what they did with Hellblade was incredible. They put a game out like that at $30
Game of the
price
year.
point, and it didn't feel like a budget title.
I think it was 40.
Was it 40?
It was
It didn't
Doesn't
feel like a
matter, it's
budget
Game of the
title,
Year.
right? So
I gotta
like
play it.
there's like a stigma to some of those lower priced titles. So if they really see a Thieves
It
at
seems
$20,
like you-
like you're
yeah.
like, okay, why is it lacking on content quality? What is it?
Yeah.
And it's so like, but again, it's also its bottom line. Like you're not going to be profitable at that scale for that game as a first party studio if you're selling a $20 game. You know,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's a tough road.
And,
I mean,
and
like,
also
we're-
like the infrastructure too, like Hellblade single player title.
Oh, yeah.
Story A to Z versus like Sea of Thieves, like Destiny style, like online
servers,
universe, which is
upkeeps,
completely different.
Live ops,
yeah.
right? It's not only developing the content; it's keeping the content there working. And
Right.
like it's that's why AAA games cost so much money. It's
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
they're huge. But to answer the original question, like I think Microsoft needs to spend. They need to get some better first party stuff going. They need to sign some other third party games and maybe not do 6-month exclusivity, but do
The Tomb Raider situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
They need to do actual exclusivity for the games. I mean, looking at, I had a launch Xbox One, and I had a launch PS4, and I came to the point like last year where I'm like, all right, I'm going to upgrade. Like, do I want to get the One X or do I want to get the PS4 Pro? And I'm looking at the first party lineup. I'm like, dude, Sony all day, every day.
They're
Like
killing it.
God of War. I got the new Last of Us. We have
Which is looking pretty cool.
I pre-ordered it.
We've
It's like-
talked about it, and we're like,
Yeah,
we're all kind of like
Yeah,
middling on it.
Yeah, just what I want to do. Last of Us, but God of War. Yeah, for sure. Listen, I'm gonna still like pretend like I'm like a diehard Microsoft fan. PlayStation, of course, has the better first party.
Their
lineup.
first party stuff like
For sure.
blows Microsoft away. But like I think Microsoft and they know that, right? They absolutely know. They just need to course correct, like you said. Like they need to.
I'm waiting for
make a
Days
change.
Gone. I don't know about you
Days
guys.
Gone, yeah. I mean that got delayed, but
I know.
yeah.
Thank God.
I follow the unofficial Days Gone Twitter. They let me know.
yeah, you haven't read that in a while, huh?
No, I haven't. Can't get into the old Twitter account.
But we were talking about like a smarter decision for Microsoft was to buy, at that point, buy a smaller boot space, probably like market one specific thing or not worry about like pushing all of this stuff that doesn't exist, right? Like, why are you spending all this time to market something that's just not there yet, right? And we've seen like Microsoft, like the rumors of acquisitions of bigger
Some of those
companies
ridiculous
and things
rumors
like,
are buying EA.
They're
That's
gonna
not
buy
happening.
EA,
yeah,
gonna buy-
Never in a
definitely
million
not.
years. It's
they
not
talked
happening.
about buying Blue Hole for PUBG, which I mean that
That makes
sense.
more sense.
Like that's of course like exclusive right now. Plans quotation marks for PlayStation. I mean personally, I think they would be stupid to not just scoop them up. Because why are you going to let PlayStation even have the ability to do it?
Sure.
You already, first of all, PlayerUnknown, I will always choose over Fortnite. Like it's already losing the battle royale game, but that's per person. I know. Like I played Fortnite on Xbox when it first came out before PlayerUnknown was the thing. Didn't have the PC yet. Like I played Fortnite. I don't enjoy Fortnite on a PC. I don't enjoy the building aspect of it. And after playing PlayerUnknown, like I still choose that over it, but you want to keep that to yourself so people like that don't want to build a PC, that high barrier of entry, that have an Xbox will naturally buy that
That's
for
your decision
the,
for that
for the battle
experience,
royale
yeah.
experience. And that makes sense. Like Bluehole needs the help. Like it's a shitty, like they don't produce great content overall and armchair developing. But like they have not done nearly as great of a job as Epic has done with Fortnite. And that's why they're clearly losing and the scale is now tipping the other way.
I mean, don't you think the animation style is bringing the kids in?
I can't answer that question. That would
Fortnite is visually appealing. It's way more.
It's
appealing.
visually.
It's so
If you look at a
well
screenshot
developed.
next to each other, a Fortnite and a PUBG screenshot, like you're gonna Fortnite all day, every day. Like, why do I want to see dreary, like Eastern European block guy with a suit and a helmet on when I can see like cool guy with a pinata and like a pickaxe and like it's purple and bright and colorful? Like
that's what I'm
everything's
saying, like-
rubbery. Like that's
It's-
fantastic.
well,
the game looks good. It
Fortnite
plays
has like
well.
a
It's
specific
it's-
art direction,
Yeah.
whereas PUBG is
tight.
just like a
it's generic. It's generic as hell.
yeah, it's like an asset grab of whatever Epic.
It's also going to
assets.
be. It's going to be a harder. PUBG is going to be a harder sell
but
to
like
parents.
we like
oh yeah,
someone that's
100%.
in
the
this
visuals alone will like
we'll sell it.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
and
the
it's
visuals
also
alone will make
free.
it harder for
Fortnite's
parents
free,
to
yeah.
like buy into that.
True.
Yeah.
True. And the game's also free compared to, you know, PUBG. You have the price of entry, but like,
Yeah.
I'll choose the ultra realistic like garbage that's PUBG
Me too.
versus Fortnite, even though it's free. And I've played Fortnite, and I understand the what Fortnite has created. Like, we have Ninja playing Fortnite with Drake, like breaking Twitch records, like Drake, like rapper Drake playing Fortnite. Like, you have NBA players playing Fortnite because it's become a part of like an overall conversation that gaming doesn't get included in enough. And I get it, but like, going back to the other point, like, Xbox and Microsoft needs to acquire Bluehole for the sole purpose that there is a fan base for PlayerUnknown that would buy a console solely to play it because they don't want to build a PC because it is a higher point of entry than it is to simply buy an Xbox.
And I would say that's not. I wouldn't think that would be the answer because that's a risky investment. I mean, any investment at that price
Sure.
is going to be risky. But who knows if the battle royale thing is going to live on?
True.
If Bluehole or PUBG Corp, whatever they're called now, doesn't have something else in the can, another concept which could live on and go further, be something different, that's not an investment I would make, or I think Microsoft makes. I think they need to buy or go in and look at other developers and other
Sure.
like new IP, right? Or things that people can do with some of their old IP. Like, everyone's been clamoring for like Banjo or something like that, right? Like, do some of the nostalgia stuff. Invest in some new IP. Like, go back to Remedy, see what else they can do. Like, there's things they can
Conker's
do.
Bad Fur Day too.
Exactly. Like, you give the fans what they want, the Battletoads, all that stuff, right? Instead of investing in the flash in the pan, get something which maybe has a little bit more of a, you know,
Well, 'cause you see all
a
of
long
these-
tail or a life to it.
It's a good
you know?
point.
All right, look,
That's a good
I have an idea for you.
Yes, let me hear.
You take 100 pucks.
Yeah.
You drop 100 pucks on an island.
Okay. This has already been a thing that we've joked about in the office. I'm not even kidding.
And then you see who scores the goal.
Who
the
gets
first.
first goal?
Like,
No, but
literally,
it's true. No, I mean, you make a valid point that like Battle Royale was a thing because it was created as a first, right? Like, it started as the DayZ mod, and it was
Which I was super into.
super popular as the DayZ mod, and then it became like the H1Z1, and then the H1Z1 became the PlayerUnknown, and like, you'll get to a point similar to Anthem that it's like, I am tired of this type of game and this type of platform. So I mean, it makes sense that that's when we see certain games that come out that's like nostalgic, like, oh, this is really what I want, but no one's producing what I really want, so I'm going to just keep playing what is, which is the Call of Duty machine, the Battlefield machine, these things that I just play every year because I feel like, well, why not? Everyone else is playing it, so let me buy it and play with my friends.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, even Microsoft's having trouble with their machine. Like, Halo 5 was like kind of underwhelming, and like, that's a thing they need to go back and try to fix.
Yeah.
And,
I don't
like,
hear anybody talking about that.
and figure out.
well, here's the thing: Halo 5 has the best multiplayer since Halo 2.
I will agree there. That was the first Halo game where I didn't finish the campaign. I went straight to multiplayer.
Yeah, and Halo 5 multiplayer is
It's good.
yeah, it's
good.
way better than 3
Warzone
and 4.
was super fun. Like, yeah.
I mean, but no one's talking about it. It's not part of the conversation. And like, how do you come out with Halo 6 following that? Like, you have to change the way in which you're approaching that. And if the approach is, oh, let's have a bunch of Master Chiefs drop in a map and
100 Master Chiefs.
whoever lives is the best Master Chief. Like, that's not the answer to the problem. Like, maybe it's a short-term, like, Band-Aid solution that lasts like a flash in the pan, like you mentioned. But how do you innovate and create something that's lasting, which I think Microsoft like really needs to figure out right now, because if they don't, like, why are we buying that console?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
They need better first party studios. They need better first party content. I mean, just look at Sony stuff. Like, your answer's right there. Like,
Sony likes to take chances on their studios as well.
Yeah.
Like, you have who's making Dreams? Media Molecule.
Yeah.
Like, this is a game that's been in production and it seemingly has no direction. It seemingly just is like a
No one can
aimless
understand it.
Yeah.
Like,
And Sony's like, yeah, let them do what they want. They're going to put it out. They're going to put it out when they're ready. And same with Days Gone developer. Bend was MIA for, I want to say like 5 years since
I mean,
they
they were
made
doing
the
Vita stuff.
They did the Vita
they were
games.
doing Siphon Filter stuff before that. Like,
Yeah.
again, they're no,
Siphon
like,
Filter,
that's a studio that's no one really knew Sony owned for like a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, here they are, right? Like, looking at even just like Naughty Dog, that was kind of like early Sony stuff, like from Crash to like Uncharted.
People didn't realize it was the same
same
studio.
screenshot of Nathan Drake, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
what? Or like Jack, or not Crash, but Jack and Daxter to Uncharted. You're like, what the fuck? What is this? You know?
Yeah,
like,
and it's like you look at like the Sony, how they treat their first party developers, and you see EA, I feel like there's kind of a contrast when EA goes, okay, well we're not going to put our better money on this horse, so we'll close Visceral, or we'll do this, or we'll do. You see a lot more good things come out of Sony when Sony likes to nurture their developers instead of like go, okay, well, we don't see the money here, so we're gonna kind of shift our focus a little bit. And does that make sense what I'm saying?
well, no, I mean, Sony focuses on the creative.
Yes.
And to your example, EA focuses on, oh, DICE has great tech. We're going to buy DICE and label all our studios DICE this. Or,
Right.
hey,
Frostbite
BioWare's
engine.
cool.
Yeah,
like,
they want
yeah,
the Frostbite.
we're going to do, now you're BioWare, this city, this city, this city. You know, like, it's more about, like, just kind of
The branding,
filling and
yeah.
branding, as opposed to, like, who cares who the studio is? If the creative is good, go with it.
Sony
You know?
said, Kojima,
Like,
come over here and make whatever you're going to make next.
yeah, here's $1 billion
however long you
make
want.
Death Stranding.
Do whatever you want. Yeah.
Pay for Norman
Oh,
Reedus
fucking-
and everyone else.
Don't
Like,
get me started on Death Stranding.
Dude, I'm so.
We love the troll.
I'm so-
video
I'm
because
so-
like
I'm
so excited for
because
Death
Listen,
Stranding.
I'm excited for the experience that
Here's the thing.
he's going to give us, and you're all going to love it.
It's so
I'm
funny.
Trip's going to love it.
He thinks that we hate it. There's not a game yet that we've even seen. We've seen some really cool videos.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's got a great product that's
Oh, yeah.
waiting to come out. But we keep telling Neo, there's nothing.
We
We don't see
It's
anything.
like at this point,
And
it
he's
could
like-
literally be a
Look.
baby throwing in the ocean simulator,
You
and
can-
no one would know the difference.
Look,
You
don't
can make up anything, and that's probably what it's going
Like
to be.
your idea is to dive into tunnels, find the babies, bring them back to the ocean, and throw them in it, and that would be the game.
The-
Well,
and
now
that-
we know you can wear some kind of suit with a little crosshair that can identify some invisible people that can maybe find the babies.
There'll be a
Who knows?
random Tyrannosaurus
But do you
Rex sex
I don't.
scene.
I don't want to because it's getting kind
It's
of late.
getting,
But like,
it's getting really late.
but like, is it
I'm
isn't
excited for it.
Sony?
You don't realize this yet, but you're already playing Death Stranding, and you don't even know, man. You don't even.
We're
know.
already in the game.
You're already playing it.
But I think the struggle for Microsoft is like Sony is able to take those chances because like they took a risk and it worked out for them.
Oh, yeah.
And like it continued to work out for them because Naughty Dog started creating content that's like left a lasting impression on the gaming industry where Microsoft I feel like is at the point where they may be a little gun shy to take a risk, and I think Rare may have been their first step at saying, okay, Rare, let's create something and see what you can create. And it's like, well, if you don't take the risk, there's no reward, obviously, but they have to start doing that and trying, or else what are you going to get? Gears of War 5, Halo 6? Like, what do you have left?
They should've-
Record 2. You got it.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they,
God,
they
that was
took a
shit.
risk with that. There's good ideas
Yeah.
that didn't work out. They should have taken the risk with Scalebound. But again, these are third party risks. Like,
Yeah.
but again, it's Platinum Games. You know the quality of game they can make. Great. It's been delayed. There might be some issues, creative, budget, whatever it happens to be. But like, take a fucking swing. Like
Yeah.
people were hyped for that game. Like it was going to be like an actiony, Monster Hunter-y, like dude with headphones, Dante-esque, like whatever. Like, just fucking go with it. Who
Yeah.
cares? Pay a little bit more money. Like, just get that game out there. People.
I
are
don't know
hyped
how
for
I
it.
ended up on it, but I ended up on State of Decay, and it was one of my favorite
Yeah,
games
I mean,
for a long
they
time.
took a risk on that one.
I knew
Literally put it
nothing
on
about
360.
Yeah, it's
And
the
it
one
worked
thing
out,
that I can't
you know?
wait for.
When I
is
bought that,
State
I
of
had
Decay
no idea what that was going to be. I just said, "Oh, zombies. Oh, good screenshots. Okay, I'll buy it." And I bought it, and I went, "Holy shit!"
And that was
this
an
game
Xbox
is-
Live Arcade game.
This is
well,
so much more than what I
Towards the end
thought
of
it
the
was
cycle,
going to be.
too.
Yeah.
That was like at the end of the Xbox 360
Yeah, and he
cycle.
told me about it, and I picked it up and played it, and we ended up falling in love together, like about that game.
Yeah, it
because
wasn't multiplayer at that time, but we were doing this thing where we would be in an Xbox chat and we would just chat about our progress, separately, talk strategy.
I used to do that with Torchlight 1. You know Torchlight?
Yeah,
Torchlight?
absolutely.
Diablo action RPG style
Yeah.
game, but like there was no multiplayer in the first one. So
Right.
I would sit next to like my friends, and we'd be like,
Sure.
"Yo, what does your guy got? What do you rolling? What are you
Yeah.
rocking with?" And we did that kind of thing.
It was the same thing. He would tell me about his whole party that fell apart because he hadn't logged in for 3 days, and the priest ended up killing everybody because the priest was hungry or whatever it may be. But like,
No, he was consoling people.
yeah.
and
Ended up shooting
helping
them in the head.
helping them commit suicide.
Right.
It was insane.
Yeah, but like, who saw that coming? But it's the same way. Like at the time, who saw some of these other games coming that ended up becoming something that's a franchise that now we play Uncharted games all of the time, right? It's the same thing. But I think we should wrap.
I think
that
so.
way we can all do what else we have to do this evening. But Nick, thank you so much for being on the
Thank you.
show.
Yeah,
Seriously,
thank you for joining
It's
us.
a lot of fun.
Thanks for running real late with
No,
me.
It's okay.
No, we usually run
Sometimes
this
that
late
happens.
anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's been great to also check ourselves too. Like speaking to somebody that's in the industry, like we might think
We spew a
twice
lot of
about.
bullshit sometimes.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk unions. Oh, nah, we're not getting into it.
Let's keep it going.
No,
We'll
we
just
won't.
come back on the show again, and we'll have more
Yeah,
discussion.
hit me in 2028.
2028. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Got it.
Yeah. There'll be like another Clusterpuck
Alexa,
game.
remind me in 10 years.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate you taking the time to talk about yourself and then talk about your current studio and the games that you're producing. It definitely helps us as well as people that are trying to break into the industry from a different aspect. But anyone that's interested more about playing Clusterpuck, you could find it on the eShop,
Steam,
not the
Xbox
eStore.
Live.
You can find it everywhere there if you wanted to give it a shot. We may be able to see it on Felix's stream in the near future as well.
Very soon, actually.
Which would be awesome. So please check it out. We Emergent Gamer stamp approved. We hope you guys check it out and then tell us about it or tweet at PHL Collective.
Yeah, win those Joy-Cons. Get in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it when I get home.
yeah.
Not stickers, literal custom
They are
Joy-Cons.
custom Joy-Cons.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
get in there.
Yeah.
Write a comment on the YouTube on the episode. Write comments on the episode on like YouTube. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I wasn't following. So
yeah.
either
We're
they.
new to YouTube, so we forget to like what.
Like, share, subscribe, y'all.
Yeah, there it is.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Yeah. Felix here with another YouTube video. But no, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Nick, for being on the show, and we'll see
you
you
for having
next week for 160.
Yep.
Later.
Later.
Like if your real name was Felix Hergood,
That's a horrible name.
yeah, you'd be a pervert.
You'd have to.
You'd be an actual
You'd have to
pervert.
exclusively wear
Yeah,
trench
like you
coats.
can't just be like a like an online pervert. You're an actual pervert.
I have to act the character wherever I go.
Yeah. Trench coat and hold it closed everywhere. Even if you got nothing on underneath, like fully clothed, you just got to hold it like this. You got to walk with it.
Are you
So
guys
you're allowed
pre-showing
to.
this on purpose like this? Because this is good pre-show.
No.
This is all natural.
So,
you know what I'm saying?